Hello, everybody. All right, it's Wednesday. Adam is going to continue working on the massive list of tasks, pre-launch tasks for Skeleseller. Launch is March 17th. Yeah, I don't think there's too much to say about that. I have kind of felt like the amount of time I've been putting in has been catching up with me. And yesterday afternoon, I just didn't get a lot done. It was some minor stuff. There was some other like real life stuff I needed to do. And I'm a tiny bit worried about that. I don't think things are like way off track or anything. The stuff we all need to move to Thursday. So yeah, let's see what we can do today. Yeah, so we left off yesterday with some GitHub issues. I also would like to do a launch or another release at some point. Maybe today. Consider publishing another version today. There are some improvements that I made that will affect the demo, e.g. customer desires, skull sliders, probably at least something else. Okay, let's go take a look. Issues. All right, so some of these are done. Some of them we decided not to do just yet. This one, probably pretty important. Allow left click drag to scroll tall dialogues. There's another thing we could potentially do for this, which is allow the stick to scroll these dialogues. Hey, JD, you did it. You got first. And I wonder how hard it is to do this in general. Let's go take a look. Instances, manager. There should be some input function here. There is no input function. How do we do this then? Oh, it's instances manager, first of all. Second, the scroll container has... here it is. Scroll horizontal. This isn't too bad. What is has point here for? Also interesting. Yeah, this isn't bad at all. I should be able to put this in pretty much any scroll container, albeit I need to customize some things about it. Do we have any other horizontally scrolling thing? I guess we should just change this, huh? Okay, so what did I say we should call this? Hey, Dark. Happy issue closing day. Oh, yeah. I should keep track of how many we started with. I guess it's in the journal. But yeah, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm going to need it. Need to make a script for this that I can reuse. So how about we do this the sort of cheapo way here? Let's go save this inside of the UI folder. And what did I say the name of this would be? Scroll container with click to drag. Yeah, that's pretty decent. Or maybe with improved dragging, because it might not just be clicking to do it. Well, it's like with, oh man, I don't know. Scroll container with scroll shortcuts. This is kind of stupid. Hey.k. All right, so game.source.ui. We call this scroll container with scroll shortcuts. Then we definitely write a comment about this and say a normal scroll container requires you to use the scroll wheel or scroll bars to navigate its content. This class allows you to drag the background with the mouse, which may help when using a controller, since you have a virtual cursor there. And the scroll bars are tiny. Well, they're tiny for a controller. Hey, Nords, this is C#? Yeah, this is C#. Okay, so we have is dragging. We don't need this anymore. I don't think we need this either. So is dragging and then change scroll vertical, I guess. And it's going to be mouse relative Y. We don't need has point. So that's it. That's our class, I think. We might need to do a little bit more, and we might need to do something specific for controllers here. I kind of want to test what happens. Can we get the left stick to work with this? Can we get the left stick to work with this on a controller? It would have to be an unhandled input, which is probably going to the town for now. We'll look at that one afterward. Anything else I need to do here? No, that's kind of it. Okay, so let's go test this somewhere. What's the easiest one? Maybe game settings menu. Wait, what's it called? Game settings. Yeah, here. So this has what exactly? Scroll container forwarding clicks. What is that? Why does this exist? Hey, Lammy, it's going well. It closes it? What? What? Act like the background was clicked if you click the scroll container? I don't follow this at all. Let's put a breakpoint there. Yeah, why would I do this? I don't think this is a thing. Maybe I had to shrink the game window. Come on. You can't even click the scroll bar. Oh, there we go. I don't understand. I don't understand what this is doing. And where else do we use this? The keybinds menu, game settings, in-game menu, keybinds menu. That's it. I don't think this makes any sense. Yeah, I don't think this makes any sense. I guess maybe it means you can click like this right here. No, you can't. And the background is a different thing doing that. I'm so confused by what this class is supposed to do. It's so straightforward too. It just says if you click it, call an on-click function. And in this particular case, it should close this thing. But this never gets hit, which in itself is a problem. Huh. It's also a little unusual that you can't click it because clicking one of these things, maybe like the label down here. No. The background? No, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the point of this was. We have game settings at the top here. What is the mouse set to for this? Ignore. So then it would go to this, which is set to pass, propagate up, which is set to pass. Pass again. Wouldn't you know it? Pass. Stop. Oh, here we go. Panel container is stopping everything. So if we set this to pass, I think this would now get triggered. Well, it depends on what this one's set to. What does this one set to? This is also set to pass. Huh. Strange. Strange indeed. My last 3 exams at the end of the month. I've never been this stressed. Oh, man. Do you feel like there's a good chance you're going to pass them all well? Like, is it the typical, hey, there's just a performance component to your class and that's stressful? Or is it like, I don't know everything I need to know? Hey, Goose. The labels are kind of off on the drop downs, too high. Kind of off on the drop down. Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, that's maybe amplified by zooming in a lot. But it is still a thing. I'll write it down. Maybe it's an easy fix. The labels here could probably be lowered slightly, but we only want to do that in this font, not CJK. Yeah, it's probably not worth doing anything about. Man, I still don't get this. Okay, let's set all of the... Oh, wait. Oh, did I restart this? I don't think I restarted this. So the change I just made had no impact. Okay, now I think it's going to actually work. Yes, now it works. Okay. Okay, I understand what this is doing. I just didn't understand that there was something blocking this. So technically, this script had no impact here. We should go take a look at whether it had an impact anywhere else. Like, does the keybinds menu actually use this? Wait, no, it can't use it because we found all the places that this on-click exists. And it's literally just here and here. And we were in the game settings menu. The in-game menu has the same thing. So let's go take a look at that in-game menu. So this has a scroll container. But as we've learned, something is blocking this. Let's just favorite this for now. So I can see this pass, 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 stop. Ah, here it is. So if we were to turn this back to pass, then this is going to close the scroll container. So I click here. No, not there. I click here and then click the background or click this. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what the point of this was. I think there is no point. So I think we can just delete this. I feel like I'm well prepared. Failed 2 of the exams before, and that just adds some psychological pressure. I don't want to drill in a ton here if it's stressful for you, but looking back at those failures, was there like a clear cause? Was it like the test was too hard? You didn't know what to prepare for? You didn't prepare for long enough? Those sorts of things. All right, so as far as I'm concerned, this has literally no purpose to exist. So let's write a note to delete this, I guess. And then a lot of things don't even listen for this. This never had any impact because a child of the scroll container would always block the, or would always stop the mouse. If you change stop to pass, then the script now does something undesirable, which is close the panel that's open. And there are more places that use this script, but don't even connect to on-click, meaning they had no reason to use the script in the first place. I have performance anxiety for my exams, even though I'm prepared. I'm anxious about not being prepared enough and then end up forgetting the material and failing. Still able to get my bachelor's degree and I kept pushing through. Yeah. Yeah, I had a different kind of anxiety about this back when I was in school. There'd be something assigned, not even necessarily a test. Maybe it was like write an essay. And I would get a little stressed out about this. And I remember everyone always telling me like, Adam, you always do well on these things. And I always remember thinking, it's because I'm stressing about it. I don't actually think it's because I was stressing about it. I think it's that I cared about it and the care manifested as stress. And I think this sort of thing can happen for exams as well. Like you care, you want to do well, but then that care leads to like, oh, what if I don't do well? And yeah, hey, Mohit Kumar. There's this other effect, and this is true for practically any part of life, but it's the time heals all wounds. Like at some point you'll be done with school. You'll have had the last exam in your lifetime. You might not realize it's the last exam at the time that you take it. And then that's it. You'll just stop thinking about exams the rest of your life. So I know that doesn't help now, but eventually this will be a blip on your radar. Hey, Phil. I just did too much at once, completely misjudged the amount of work some of the classes required. Some things just fell off at the end. Well, for what it's worth, so the reason I ask about this is because I'm about to put a positive spin on this, which is this is part of the meta learning of school or university, which is how do you allocate your time? What actually takes priorities? What are the impact of things when things go wrong? Like failing is probably not going to result in the rest of your life being miserable. It's probably going to result in some additional stress for now. So I trust that you'll get through this, that it'll be February and you'll be like, everything was fine, Adam. I passed the exams with flying colors. Or that if there's a suboptimal score there, that it's not end of the world. All right, so let's go remove this from over here and attach a new script, which is going to be scroll container something, something, something. I don't know what I called it. There we go. And let's go try that out. Can we just do it in the game right now? No. I gotta actually rerun this. There are a decent number of controller issues that, I mean, they won't impact everybody, but it's probably worth fixing some of these now. What happened here? Unable to cast. Oh, wow. I wasn't expecting that. Okay, well, that's easy to fix. Game settings menu. So this is not needed pretty much, right? Yeah. There's going to be scroll container. And is close called from somewhere else now? Yeah, it is. Okay. Let's try running that. Yeah, I want to just get through as many issues as I can today, tomorrow, and the next day, I think. And then I think we should really start focusing on which issues we're tackling. Nice. Look at this. Okay, so now we can drag from the background here. But if we click a, well, I guess we can still do it if we click a button. It's probably not a good idea. Maybe we should do this a little differently, because now you can, oh no, that doesn't. But yeah, this is the idea that I wanted here. In fact, you know what? We could combine both of these things, can't I? I could do scroll vertical and scroll horizontal at once. Nice. Hey, man, I find love the skull sliders. Yeah, I think these are great. Dark just suggested them yesterday. Also, to what do I owe this pleasure of seeing you on a Wednesday and not a Monday or Friday? Lucky enough to already have a job lined up for my thesis and beyond, so I'm not too worried. As long as it isn't absolutely terrible. Okay, yeah. You know, I was just talking to my wife about this. I know that anxiety is kind of like the opposite of rationality in some cases, but you know, there are a lot of things that my wife might be anxious about that then after they've happened and she realizes like, oh, I was anxious for no reason. I'm like, it's too bad that doesn't sort of inform the loop about, maybe it's not worth getting anxious in the first place. Now, like I said, I recognize that that anxiety is not something you necessarily control like that. But I do wonder how much having like a positive feedback loop and sort of an internal positive monologue would be good. Probably doesn't hurt. I don't think it fixes things. Okay, so what do we need to look at here? This is in GUI input. Is there even unhandled input here? Visiting family on the East Coast this week, working from home, got my work done early. Oh, nice, cool. Well, welcome into the stream then. Yeah, I don't, what's going on here? Public override. It should, oh, this is just VS Code needing to be reloaded. I was wondering if I was doing something wrong. All right, let's try this again now. So public override, and then I press this, and we type an underscore, and it should suggest, there we go. So what are the input functions we can get? Ah, there's unhandled input. Well. So then that's what I think we want to use, unhandled input. I'm not positive about this, though. Well, let's go try this out. Because if I'm not mistaken, this should work exactly the same as the other ones work. Okay, good. Still doing this, though. So when you click a button, it doesn't mark it as handled. So you can scroll from this. How does this work on a phone? If I have, where would I even find this example? Maybe, I guess, in a web page. Oops. Actually, scrolling takes priority. I don't think you'd expect this to work with a mouse, though. What am I missing? Maybe we just set the buttons to stop. Let's choose this. This should already be set to stop, right? Mouse is set to stop, yeah. What do we do? I think what we need to do is treat the background like it's a button almost, so that you don't click two buttons at once, basically. Trying to be consciously more positive in how I think about events that stress me out or cause anxiety. No idea how effective it is, but better than the alternative either way. Yeah. Yeah. And like I said, I think it's closing the loop on something you were anxious about that ended up being fine in the end. Because you've probably heard me say this before, but I've felt this way in a lot of the software engineering that I do, especially solo projects, where there's this like, this is time and this is like your happiness. And you'll have a lot of like confidence and happiness starting on a project, and you'll hit some problem and it'll like shoot downward and you'll be like, this is hopeless. And you'll eventually realize there are solutions to those problems. And you'll kind of just go through this sort of sine wave. It doesn't look perfect, but yeah, where it's like, I'm on top of the world, everything's going great, I believe in Skeleseller. And then way down here, it's like, oh God, how are we going to solve the controller issues that we're having? And then we solve them. And then, so at this point, what I'm trying to do is realize that whenever things look bleak, there's going to be a path through it. And it's probably only even going to take a week. Sometimes like a month, maybe. All right. So this is even in GUI input, and we have accept event here. There's nothing else we can do, right? Well, there is something else we can do. If we put this back into unhandled input, which I can't get back to, unhandled input, can we mark this as handled like we do here? So instead of these, they turn to this. We just get rid of those. I think this is what we want to do. Yeah, I think this is what we want to do. I'm not certain this is going to work either, though. No, it's not. Oh, come on. Why is this causing unhandled input? The button should be consuming this one. Maybe I forgot to just do mouse event pressed. Do you ever just quit the project if the curve gets too low? It depends on the project. I think if I were working on some like, actually you've kind of seen it happen in terms of these bugs, maybe in the last day even. Like I started working on, I don't know where it was. But anyway, one of these, just imagine this one. Yeah, actually this was one of the ones. Add a summon animation for zombies. If you consider this to be a project, I actually started this and I'm like, it's not really worth it. And in the case of Skeleseller, if the zombies don't have a summon animation, it's not the end of the world, right? So now imagine this was an entire project. I'm trying to make like Hyper Pong or something like that. And I start it and I'm like, whoa, I do not know what I'm doing here. Yeah, canceling the project may be a decent idea. But if it was like my life dream to make this game, I probably wouldn't cancel it. So I think that all comes down to priorities. Oh, now it's not working on mouse up. Okay, well, that's... And it's even not working there. Oh, no. So apparently the problem that we're hitting here, mousing down on a button doesn't consume the event. So the scroll container can then consume it. We could add a different script to pretty much every button in the game that makes it work that way. Then again, does button already have this sort of thing? I wonder. Input, shortcut. No, I don't think so. Keep pressed outside. What does that do? If true, button stays pressed when moving the cursor outside the button while pressing it. Signals are emitted regardless. Oh, action mode. Oh. So if I set this to press, does it probably marks it as handled immediately? But then it also changes the behavior of what this thing did. Yeah, so now it opens this immediately. But like, that's not how you'd expect the button to work in this case. Which means maybe what I should do is check if we've hit a certain threshold. Like you've moved far enough, that could potentially work. Does this even need to scroll, or could you just do another page of settings? Oh, this one in particular doesn't need to scroll. It's just the easiest dialogue to get to like this. There are other ones that do need to scroll, like the edit keybinds menu. This one's pretty long. And then other ones where it's like it could scroll if you just don't have enough space in the game. So as an example here, let's say you get this and you open this up and it looks like this. It's like you should be able to drag this on a controller. The part of the reason we're doing this is on a Steam Deck screen, it's somewhat small, so it's more susceptible to these issues. So yeah, just to be clear, this is just a test bed for this that's easy to get to. So this is not a problem necessarily, but the other ones are a problem, and I just don't feel like spending an extra 6 seconds getting there. Yeah, so if we do the threshold thing, I think we should be fine. Threshold. Delta. Drag start position. Okay, this is what we need. Let's go try this out. What about GUI input? GUI input didn't seem to help this. At least accept event didn't cause this thing to work the way I would have expected. I'm actually not totally sure why buttons don't consume this thing. All right, so vector to drag start position. This might need to be a vector 2i. No, it's just a vector 2. Okay, then what is this inside of? This is inside input. I mean, maybe it's input that I wanted to do. Who knows? Godot input handling. There's that giant chart that I always forget the order of. Yeah, this. Input comes before GUI input. But we're in unhandled input right now, and it's still not even being consumed by the button. I'm kind of curious why buttons don't consume that event. If they change styles. I can change action mode. But that changes the behavior of the button as well. Something that I don't like. All right, so drag start position. So we need to now set this and do one of these sorts of things. This is for mouse motion, so it goes here. So that's delta. We don't need a zoom here. And if delta is greater than some number, I don't know, what do we set it to over here? Dragging epsilon 10. I mean, should we just pull this from the camera? Camera dot dragging epsilon, just so it's the same number as everywhere else. And then when you start dragging, set the drag start position. This will kind of sort of work. Yeah, mouse event opposition. Okay, well, let's try this out. Oh, yeah, I should put private on this, not that it matters. So now if you drag from the button, it will still let you drag from this button, but only once you've moved it enough. So if I drag upward, it's not until I hit 10 pixels that it finally starts moving the window. However, this is also true if we go in the other direction. So technically this delta, if I even want to do this, if we keep this, we need a delta per axis so that you can't drag 50 pixels left and then 1 pixel up and have it scroll up. Then again, maybe we don't care. Well, I'll say we might need. All right, so let's go look up Godot button not consuming event on mouse down. I mean, I want this behavior, but I'm not getting this behavior. Just setting this to stop doesn't do anything, does it? That doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I want the button to stop it, and it's already set to stop. I've just got to be missing something here. Oh wait, did that work? Oh my god, I think that worked. How does that make any sense? Hold on a second. Did I test this correctly? Maybe, huh? No, now I can't drag at all. What did I break? What did I break? I guess you can't set this to stop. Stop makes it not get unhandled input, so we need to set this back to GUI input and then do accept event. And then I don't think this is going to work anymore. Hey, Natazito, and thanks. Yeah, it had been a long time since I got a haircut. I finally went yesterday. All right, so we can do that. And yeah, this is the problem here. I still don't know what to do about this. Stop mouse click event after click on button. I have a button in my 2D HUD. When I click the button, the main scene input event handler is still catching that click. But I have to change to make sure it stops. Yeah. Using input callback does be called no matter what you set. Only stops propagation of GUI input. What? Why didn't this work for me? What am I missing? I changed mine to unhandled input, but the button is still making it trigger this. I haven't actually. Yeah, I guess that's the problem. I haven't let go of mouse down, but I still don't understand why the button doesn't consider this to be consumed now. Like it changed the style of it. It's now held down, but I can still drag the window too. Hmm. I have a workaround I could do. I really, really don't like this workaround, but I could add a script to every one of these buttons to like have it consume this. That would be very annoying. That seems normal to me unless I'm missing something. Well, in my case, what I want is if you drag from the background, it drags the panel. If you drag from a button, it doesn't drag the panel. Or it drags the panel and then doesn't trigger this thing. But yeah, right now you can drag and open the keybinds menu at the same time. Button, consume event. I don't want to change action mode though. Let's just look up action mode and see what people talk about here. Not handle pressed equals false event. Minutes several frames after interrupted inconsistent script behavior. Man, is it happening on all of these? Yeah, it is. What about this one? Yeah, it is. It's not on this one though, but that's because this happens on mouse down. And it's not on this because this presumably marks the event as handled. Hey, Liverick. Yeah, I think the issue we need to have here is just a button that absorbs this event. I just don't want to do this for every single possible control that could be under here. Because like, okay, in this particular UI, we have, this is a specific kind of button. This is a generic kind of button. We have the checkboxes, we have this toggle thing, we have the drop downs, we have the sliders. And I think that's it. And then we have this input. And I guess technically these, but I think these are generic buttons too. So we have like 6 different kinds of components. Okay, great. We could modify all 6 of those components and we could fix this. However, then we get to this dialog where I don't have this open anymore. So let's go build these things and then save. Yeah, then we get to this dialog and it's like, okay, well now we need to control this button, these labels, whatever else might be in here. Same thing over here. It's like, well, I guess these are still the skill buttons and you have the regular buttons. It's like, how many of these do I want to handle specifically? But maybe that's the only way we can do this. I don't know what else. Godot button. That's weird. Maybe base button has action mode. Yeah, there it is. Determines when the button is considered clicked. Yeah. Okay, well, let me write down the solutions. I could add a script to each button that makes it consume the mouse down event, even if it doesn't signal anything. That way the scroll container can't get that input. I don't want to do this because I would need this script to be on every kind of GUI element or UI element. Buttons, sliders, drop downs, text inputs, perk buttons, etc. And I'd have to do that, like I'd have a script on that saying, hey, don't absorb this thing just for the sake of this. That also strikes me as being wrong. There's another thing we could potentially do here. Option 2, only make this drag behavior work when using the virtual cursor, not when using the physical cursor. Option 3, bypass this altogether and make the camera controls scroll dialogues. I'm just still trying to figure out if there's some way for me to do this. The basic is that we have a scroll container and then we have a button. I want it so that mouse down on the button doesn't allow the scroll container to see that mouse down event. And mouse up on the button clicks the button. Yeah, I guess another option is change the action mode of the button so that it triggers on mouse down. Yeah, there must have been some reason why they did this. Why they made it so that this mouse down event is not consumed. So option 4 is definitely the easiest, but it also changes how these buttons work so that as soon as I click this, it would activate, which is just not how a lot of these other things work. Like you can click and then be like, oh no, I don't want that, and then drag away and it doesn't activate it. But if I use option 4, as soon as I click it, it would open, and then I drag the mouse away and it's like, well, there's no getting out of this. You already opened the dialogue. I am curious about this though, why this doesn't work this way. Like what reason would they have for that? I wonder if we could just go look at the button code and find out something. I don't know what. It's probably come from base button actually. All right, well, base button, here it is. GUI input. Button masked, UI accept. Where do we mark the event as handled? Up to you, but it'll probably feel more responsive. So we can't do this everywhere and it'll be inconsistent. So like here, if you click and drag, you might be moving the camera and we don't know until you've actually dragged the mouse. So like this is a case where clicking this should not immediately do it and releasing should consider it to be clicked. So like we'd have an inconsistency with all of these things in the world and then these buttons would work instantaneously. Did I change this? Because that's apparently how that's already working. I don't know if I changed the action mode on that though. What? Why? Oh my God. Why is that happening? Action mode is on button release. Why is that getting hit immediately then? I click and it's just immediately there. How's that even possible? That's very bizarre. Maybe I'm... No, I don't see anything I could be doing wrong. What? Oh, man. Those are on mouse up. And yet somehow Somehow these buttons happen immediately upon clicking them? And I didn't just do this? Every single one of these has an action mode of button release. Strange. Hey, Maddie, does it scroll when holding down the left mouse button and moving the mouse up and down? And that's what you want to stop from happening? So the thing I want to stop from happening is I can scroll, but well, I probably deleted the code for this. Where is this? I know this looks fine. Weird. This isn't even working now. Did I change something else without realizing it? Or did I just forget to hit save somewhere? Strange. I don't know. Oh, there we go. Okay, yeah. So I want it so that when you click the background, it scrolls. It's doing that. And when you click a button, but you don't let go of left click, that it doesn't scroll. Because here we've clicked the button. So like, shouldn't also handle scrolling. Because then when I let go, it's going to activate the button. And if all you were doing is like scrolling quickly through here, you're going to accidentally click a button while scrolling and then accidentally activate it. But yeah, I want to take a look at this. So there's GUI input. There should be some other input functions, right? It's just this. All right, so if it's disabled, don't do anything. Get the event, check to see if accept was pressed and it's not an echo. And the mask, check to see if the button is valid and has whatever button we clicked. So if it is an allowed button or you pressed UI accept, then trigger the event. Maybe this marks the event as handled. It's got to be something on P event that happens here. Strange. I don't see anything marking it as handled. Accept event. There it is. Where's that? Shortcut input? That's the only place? Maybe button handles this and not base button? What is going on here? Why I want to use the code search here? Oh, maybe there is no input function here. And maybe it is working just fine. Input. Yeah, there's no input function. Oh boy. Well, maybe shortcut input works differently from how I expect. I actually don't know what this does. What is this? Shortcut context. Shortcut input. Oh, this is another thing in, yeah, here. Shortcut input event. What is that? If no one consumed the event, shortcut input callback will be called if overridden and not disabled with this. Only happens for input event key. Okay, so these are only for buttons, not for mouse clicks. Viewport set input is handled and the event will not spread anymore. Well, I guess that's another thing we could do that I didn't really think about. Okay, maybe I'm being stupid. All right, so we go to game settings menu and we go look at the keybinds button. I mean, I don't like doing this idea, but let's take a look. Keybinds menu should have a clicked thing here somewhere. Oh, it's inside of here. Maybe. Or is it pressed? No, it's not. What am I missing? Oh, edit keybinds button. Here it is. Set content visible. Okay, so we would just do something here that then also says give viewport set input as handled. That would fix this. Hey, Superman, couldn't it be solved with a flag? There is a flag that will solve it. It'll just also change the behavior of the button so that it activates on mouse press. This didn't work because, yeah, the reason this didn't work is because it's only on pressed, and press is only emitted on mouse up. Do we have another event for these things? button down. Button down is its own event. Emitted when the button starts. Oh, wow. I didn't realize that was its own thing. So we could just mark this as handled. Get viewport set input as handled. I mean, this is what I was saying we would just do through a script. I don't want to have to do this on every single caller side of things. Yeah, that works. Okay, well. Scroll can't consume mouse up. No, because it's a drag action, right? Like you're clicking and then dragging the mouse. In order to know that you're dragging, it's got to be exactly in that order, because that's what a drag is. It's mouse down, then move, then mouse up. Hey, back. It's going well. So, yeah, I mean, this kind of fits in here of option like 1A. Could also do this for each button. Where's the code? Here. Yeah. I mean, it's not a problem here. It is a problem on these. I'd have to do this on all of these ones. We could do this via a script or something, or even a node that's a child of the button. Could make a custom node for this that we add as a child to the button that modifies, or that adds this from ready. It's not hard to do. All right, well, anyway, that'll fix that one. Let's go try this on something else now. Where else do we have scroll containers? Probably in a lot of places. All right, end battle screen, I don't care about. Technically, it is true, but yeah, that doesn't matter. Game settings menu, it's too similar. I don't want to do that one right now. It's going to be the exact same issue that we just ran into. In-game menu, that's what we just did. Instances manager is already done. Keybinds menu would be pretty straightforward. Party chooser. Party chooser doesn't really have any blank space. But okay, here's one. Adventurers panel tab. Like the new scroll skull icons. Yeah, I like them too. There's dark suggestion to do that. All right, Adventurers panel tab it is. Adventurers panel tab. So there should be a scroll container in here somewhere. There are two. Why are there two? For the character selector? Okay, that one I don't really care about. But where's the second one? Here. All right, I want to give this same script. And then we need to probably change the panel to no longer stop this, but to pass it upward. And then probably to have this one stop it. Yeah, that should work. Okay, let's go try that. See what happens. The slide bars of bone. Yeah, that's what Dark had also suggested. But I don't have an easy graphic for that. Oh, I guess we could extract it from the battle window for fighting a boss. All right, so here we drag. This is not working. But it's probably not working because something else is absorbing the mouse clicks here. One of maybe these, like in skill table or something. Where is it? This should be set to pass. Innate skills, yeah, sure, pass. That one's stop. What? Pass. This should have been done anyway, setting these to pass. All right, number of available skill points. No reason to have that stop mouse input. That one's already set to ignore. Reset skills button, that one can be stopped, that's fine. And then the skill table itself, which is okay except for... No, it's okay. So why isn't this working? What am I missing? I gave it the right script, right? Scroll shortcuts. Yeah, I don't see a problem here. And what's scrollable? The whole thing, yeah. Huh, weird. I don't know why it's not working. The scrolling you did see there is because I was using the scroll wheel just to make sure it can scroll, and it can. But I want to try doing it via the mouse dragging. Strange. What am I missing? All right, let's put a breakpoint here. Is it getting hit? No. Which means something else is marking this input as handled. I wonder if it's the town. I wonder if we do have to set this to GUI input. We're just going to break this. There's no winning. There's just no winning. Okay, so now it works. So yeah, something else was getting it first for unhandled input. But I'm guessing we're going to have the same problem. Yeah, that you can... This just doesn't mark the thing as handled. It needs to. Yeah, otherwise it's going to be annoying. And now what? Did we break this one? No, this is still fine. Okay, well, I think that's our solution. I think that's what we have to do. And now I just need to go tediously change every single one of these buttons. I can't think of a better way to do this without changing the behavior of these things. Hey, who cares? Yeah. Well, what are you going to do? So, what's inside of these things? Skill button. It's some kind of skill button. I don't remember what. Adventure skill button. There it is. So this has its own script. And this probably comes from up here. And we have some way of you clicking this thing. So there's got to be a pressed event somewhere. Here it is. So these don't mark that these are handled. Wait, there's another peculiar thing that's going on here. No, wait, there are many peculiar things that are going on here. Main skill button is not the icon. Oh, God. On icon GUI input. Yeah. All right. Can we add the separator from the skill tree to the settings menu? The settings menu is going to eventually have tabs. If you're talking about the thing that I think you're talking about, this is going to have tabs. This, we could add a separator, but I don't mind just having the spaces here. I think it's less busy. My work is heavily using it now, and it's a must-have now. I don't necessarily see it as a bad thing, but I know a lot of people do. Hey, TJ, been lurking? Ready to pay you for all your hard work on release day? Thanks, TJ. The actual these? Because I was going to say these will be in tabs, so it's not going to be an issue. All right, let me try to figure out this weird problem right now. Why is it that clicking settings works on mouse down when its action mode is... What is its action mode? Button release. Like, why can't I figure even this thing out? I click, I don't let go, and it's already on this thing. So like my finger is still on left click. If I let go now, it doesn't matter. But like, yeah, why is that happening? The whole point of this... Oh, I'm not on the right thing. It's this one. Yeah, but it's still set to button release. The only thing I could think is that we access the settings button and do something very specific here. And it's not necessarily on pressed, it's on something else, but it says it's on pressed. Is there some input function that's doing this? Only if you press cancel, which is escape, and that only hides this, which is what it should do. I don't get it. Maybe it's because of this that I added that's causing this to happen. No, wait, that's forwarding clicks. What does forwarding clicks do? No, this has no impact. In fact, we can delete this. scripts from that. We don't even need to get this. You just make it not do anything. Still does not add up, though, why that's happening that way. Yeah, it's strange. Now it's fixed. Oh no, what? So this had something to do with this? That doesn't make any sense. On click on this calls close, and close somehow shows. Oh, I think I know what's happening, and I think this is very particular. Okay, hang on. Let me test this before I say what my hunch is. But something still doesn't add up here, so I don't know how this could be possible. Okay, I think I know what's going on. So we are like mouse down on the button is happening. And then it's also happening on the scroll container for the reason that I was originally trying to solve. This causes the whole UI to close. This triggers mouse up on the button probably. And then that causes the button to be clicked. And then we show the next menu. And I guess when we close that menu, we show this again. Otherwise, this would have never worked. Game settings menu. Close. Set content visible. Visible content. Where do we have actually closed? This must have some signal out of here, right? Yep, on closed. And then something listens to this and shows the other UI. Yep. Oh man, that shouldn't happen. That definitely shouldn't happen. So why does it only happen in this UI, not the other one? Something's amiss. Yeah, something is quite amiss there. Forwarding clicks. That's what we used to have. Like that's what currently exists in whatever this thing is in game settings menu. Game settings menu. This had forwarding clicks, yeah, right there. And we listen to its on click. What's the difference? It didn't ever function on this screen. This used to be the same kind of scroll container, but nothing caused it to get hit. Oh, never mind. Okay, this is not an issue. I'm just turned around because I'm doing so many steps at once. Okay, I understand what's going on. It's working exactly how I expected it to work. I just had one assumption wrong in my head, which is I did not modify either both or neither of the scene trees. I said that stupidly. Anyway, I get what's going on. Okay, so we just changed the script on this. This changes to this, and then we just don't do anything. So delete this again. Yeah. Nice shirt, thanks. Yeah. I have to iron a whole bunch of other shirts now. Every day is just an ironing burden. All right, so now I click this, that's working. If this were too small to fit on the screen, like we do this, now we can scroll from the background, but clicking a button will also cause it to click the button. So for that, we need to, let's go make this new node right now. We have something called like add sounds. Yeah, here it is. All right, let's save this as handle event, or like mark event handled on mouse down. Yeah. Mark event handled on mouse down. And then attach a different script to this. Where is this right now? Buttons, button with sounds. It's in scenes? I don't think it defaults to where I wanted this thing to be. Do we have a buttons folder? All right, I don't know where that even is. Add sounds is in scene scripts. Okay. I don't want it there. I want it here. So let's make a folder here called buttons. Yep, that looks good. Okay, sure, whatever. And then what this is going to do is pretty much the same thing as what this did. So we say base button parent, and then parent dot button down, and we're done. That's it. That's the entire script. Well, except for the namespace. And then we don't need system here. So now that's the entire script. So this is fine. And then we just put this on every button in the menu. Alternatively, we make it a different type of button. What is this right now? It's a button with sounds. This is silly. I need some like Uber button script that does everything. And then we just change some properties on it. Yeah, I'm not gonna worry about that for now. Let's just instantiate in this node. Ibokanon. All right, so what do I call this? Mouse something? Yeah, there. So we got to add this to all of these. Oh, man. All right, mark event. Let's just paste this everywhere. Does this have a shortcut? Shift Command A. Okay. All right, and that's it. That should fix that entire scene. So we gotta open a very small window here. And then click the game settings. And now if we scroll by a button, it doesn't do anything. But if we scroll by this blank space, it does. Yeah. There is something else we could do. Could we actually? I was going to say you could allow dragging by these, but I didn't figure out how to stop the button from being triggered. Is it even possible? What's the GUI event order? See if any control can receive it. If so, the control will be called via the virtual function GUI input. Signal GUI input will be emitted. If it wants to consume the event, it will call accept event. The event will not spread anymore. What's the order of this, though? Ah, here it is. When sending events to its child and descendants, viewport will do so as depicted in the following graphic in reverse depth first order. So it's just the bottommost thing in the tree all the way up to the top. So it can never be the scroll container first. Oh, wait, this order does not apply to GUI input, which uses a different method based on the event location or focused control. GUI mouse events also travel up the scene tree. Since these target specific controls, only direct ancestors receive the event. All right, so yeah, mouse inputs travel upward, which means the button gets it first and then the scroll container. So there's no way for the scroll container to stop the button from getting it. And since a button has to be in a scroll container, there's no way to reverse that order. So it just couldn't be done in GUI input if we wanted to. So there is a way you could get around this. Oh man. Okay. So the way you'd get around this is you'd have a scroll container and then a button. And then below all of that, you'd have some sort of like invisible mouse absorbing mask. And this would cover the entirety of the scroll container. It would get the events first. And then you'd check in here whether you want to scroll or not. I had not thought of doing this. But maybe that's smarter. This all depends. Okay, so here's what we got to figure out. What behavior do we even want? We now have a requirements problem, not an implementation problem, I think. This would handle scrolling such that the button wouldn't receive the event if we triggered a scroll action. Yeah, so what behavior do we want? Because on the web, Can I show this off? I think I can if I go to it. If I go into responsive mode or whatever. How do we do that? Yeah, okay, so here, this is what I'm talking about. All right, so let's say I'm on a phone right now, right? I can scroll by doing this. If I could somehow, okay, here's a button. Okay, so check this out. This is how your phone works too, probably. But if you drag from a button, it just doesn't even act like you clicked anything on the page. It knows that you're dragging. But if I do click this, then it knows that I've clicked it. So any amount of like moving it is going to cause it to treat it as a drag. Any amount of, well, long pressing it is considered something special on phone. So yeah, if I just hold the mouse here, it does something. But yeah, if I then click it, it does something different. So that's like one style that we could do here. Have scrolling such that it doesn't matter what the mouse is over. Like I can't click links, I can't click buttons. So option 1, mobile-like behavior. Scrolling comes first. It doesn't matter what the mouse is over. It won't be activated unless you click without moving. Well, tap without moving. That's just doing the click on release if no movement, right? Yeah. Implementation aside, we're just talking about what are the different high-level ways you could do this. So imagine you didn't understand computer science at all. You'd still be able to describe like how do you scroll things, but you might not know, oh, we track where the mouse was clicked and then we check for certain events and we check the delta and then that's all implementation stuff, but this is not an implementation thing. So that's mobile-like behavior. We could do something where we say scrolling only happens when clicking the background. Clicking a button would prevent scrolling events from happening. Option 3, it's not really an exclusive option, but like we do something based on when you're using the mouse and something else when using the virtual cursor with a controller. What else could we even do when it comes to scrolling? I wonder just which option of these two makes more sense. Let me get my controller. Where is that? Here it is. All right, so I plugged in the controller. We should be able to do the same thing over here. Now, whoa, this is going crazy. This is going super crazy. No, yep. What's going on here? Does this only work if let's just restart the game. Maybe it's something about having the controller plugged in at the beginning of the game. I don't think that's the case, but yeah, I don't know what's going on. Did this launch again? Yeah, no, it didn't. What is this? No, it's still going nuts. I can't control this. I can control it going left and down, but if I go, oh no, wait, now it's working completely. Oh, it just doesn't work when I slam the stick all the way to the side. So I have very tight controls for this. That in itself is a bug, but now I should be able to, whoop, oh, come on. Yeah, now I can drag from the back. So this makes this actually somewhat usable. I think we could also avoid this whole thing and just change it so that the camera controls scroll dialogues. I think that'd be fine. Yeah, I think that's fine. I think we should just bypass pretty much this whole thing. Oh my God, I can't. This is like unusable. And I can't totally figure out why. Hey, Sorrow. All right, let's try this. No, come on. Why won't this work? It's like flying off the buttons for some reason. This was working the other day. Oh, man. Okay, well, let's do this. Yeah. It's a shame. Oh, maybe it's because I have Steam open. Let me close Steam. That might be doing it. Yeah, I hadn't thought of that. I think Steam tries hijacking your mouse if you have a controller plugged in. Okay, now does it work? Oh, thank goodness. Okay, yes. It was because I had Steam open. In fact, actually, maybe that's why it's breaking on Linux as well. I never thought of that either. I don't think it is. I think there's a different problem. Yeah, no, need to make sure Steam isn't hijacking the controller. Just test launching from the command line. There's probably some way to turn that off on Mac as well. Hey, Franken. All right, so yeah, this is what I was talking about though. We can drag through this. This is working. I don't know if you'd care to do this though. You might just be fine using the stick. And if you are fine using the stick, then that means we can go test this right here. Scroll with scroll shortcuts. Yeah, we could add in some camera control thing here, but only for unhandled input maybe. Let's go find this. I have so many tabs open. Unhandled input, not even showing up. There's just input. So wheel up, wheel down. Where's the camera stuff? Strangely, I don't see it. I mean, I guess we could look in the project settings and find out what I called this. Camera, yeah, UI camera left. Where do you exist? Oh, we check it like this. Yeah, here it is. So right, left, down, and up. So we just copy all of these things and put them into here. Probably for unhandled input. Override, unhandled input. All right. So this would say something like scroll horizontal plus equal scroll speed. Yeah, just do this everywhere. And then set the scroll speed. Private. Sure. I don't know if 10 is going to be slow or fast. I just want to see if this works. All right, so we open this, and then I use, oh, that's not too bad. Ooh, it's getting stuck somewhere, though. I think because we're checking... No, we're not checking the wrong thing. What's going on? This must be absorbing input? No. What is happening? It's getting stuck on some of these things. I don't know what's... Oh, wait. Oh, I think I know what's going on. I think this is a physical controller thing. And what's happening is I'm actually slightly moving the stick. Oh, yeah, that's what's going on. Oh, this is so difficult. Okay, so I got to figure out... I'm probably using the wrong event here or something. I want it to allow echoes. How do we have that happen? How do we have that happen? Hey, Alpha. Can you make it so you don't have to scroll and just make the menu take up most of the screen? There's no real way to stop you from having to scroll because you might be on a very tiny screen like a Steam Deck. And you might also have zoomed in the game. Like there's a UI scale for accessibility here. So if you have this set to a pretty high number and you're on a Steam Deck or something, like, yeah, the screen will look like this. But yeah, if we could stop you from having to scroll, that'd be great. And any individual UI, we might be able to rearrange things. Like people have kind of asked about this before. Like the game settings could be split into language and then video and then audio, and you could have tabs at the top. And then you probably don't need scrolling no matter what. But this is just one UI that I happen to be looking at. We need to make sure that any arbitrary UI could eventually get this treatment. Okay, so somewhere we allow for echoes. Where does that happen? Oh, wait. It's set directly in the event? Camera. Camera doesn't have echo on, though, right? Or echo off. Echo false. Wait, what? I didn't even know that was a thing. How is any of this working correctly then? Input map. Camera. No, I don't see it here. No, yeah, I don't see it here. All right, well, we have some other echo thing somewhere. Where is that? Hmm. I know we did this somewhere. I think it was on the game settings menu. Event is echo. Yeah, what kind of event has that? The input event. And we don't do anything special, so it should be happening for every input. Okay, let's just look at the other ones. What else do we have? Is pressed, just pressed, released. Okay, I think I know what's going on. This is only an unhandled input. We want to check to see if this is held down. Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I'm not thinking about anything. I feel like I'm not doing justice to the code base right now. We didn't even check camera things in here. Where do we check this? Camera, keyboard, input handler. Okay, here it is. Yep. I see. Yep. Okay, so we want this pretty much over here. So we're going to keep track of a velocity, I guess. No, we want to set this velocity, yeah. Fun stuff. All right, so then same thing down here. Set new velocity to 0. And then do all this new velocity dot x. Cool. And then this stuff. Velocity equals new velocity. And then in process, we handle this. So now the scroll speed should be something pretty small, probably like 1. And this should be a float. Because the vector 2 is a floats by default, right? I actually don't remember if it's float or double. Yeah, it's float. All right, so now we need a process. Public override process. Great. Yeah, so this should work the way I hope. Hey, Stony. It is seemingly doing nothing. Let's go to a breakpoint in here when I press down. Yep, it's getting hit. So we set new velocity here. New velocity should now be 0, 1, yeah. And then if it's not set to 0, mark this as handled, then set the velocity equal to new velocity. That's all fine. And then in the next process call, if it's not 0, it should scroll by these things. Oh, this is probably too tiny a number to actually scroll. Ooh. All right, first of all, this should be physics process. So we want to do math.ceiling, I guess. But the problem with this is now we're going to move minimally 1 pixel per physics frame, which is 1/60th of a second. So we'll move 60 pixels per second. So actually what we need to do is like keep track of... I need to keep track of some scroll accumulator here. Oh, man. That's not going to be fun to do. Because anytime you scroll, we need to like reset the accumulator that we have. Alternatively, what we could do, this is really stupid, but this is kind of funny actually. We could do probabilistic scrolling based on what your velocity is set to. So, we could say something like, if this is really dumb, and I'm just doing this because it's the fastest thing, but I'm not gonna probably keep this. But we do if velocity.x times delta. So if there's a % chance of that, then we scroll by 1. Yeah. We don't need an else here. We need just the same thing for this. This is velocity y times delta. And then, yeah, scroll by that. Okay. And now I can't convert from a double to a float. Oh, wait, no. Delta can't convert. All right, so this is silly. Yeah. I agree. A shortcut might come back to bite me. And in this case, it's also not going to be smooth scrolling, because what's happening here is we're saying we want to move by, I forgot what the speed is, set to 1. Anyway, we want to move by some speed. So like, I don't know, 10 pixels per second. A problem is we split this up to 60ths of a second. So we're actually moving by this many pixels per 60th of a second. So what I'm doing instead is I'm saying, okay, this is now a % chance for us to move by 1 pixel. So every frame we have a 17% chance. That means that many times we won't move and it won't be smooth, but this is at least a way for us to test that this is working. It's not working. Possibly because this is a really, really tiny number. Yeah, so velocity.y is 1, delta is this. I think I meant to multiply this by 100. Yeah, I think I meant to multiply by 100. I'm not actually even sure. I mean, let's try it. Just see. Well, I allowed the term through. Hey, nice. Okay, so we did it. And now smoothly scrolls. This is so dumb. Oh no. All right. Yeah, so then this is a problem too, right? We're doing math.ceiling, which is also always going to make negative 0.2 into 0. We need to get the absolute value of this and then multiply it by the sine of the velocity that we had, which is further reason why this is the stupidest thing I've ever done. I mean, in this case, we could just do math.sine velocity.x times, yeah, just that. Which is pretty much the same as just math.sine. Yeah. And then same thing here. Have you considered smooth lerp? The problem is that scrolling is in integer coordinates. So if we try adding 0.5 every time, it does literally nothing. So we need to keep track of it in a separate variable. That's like the proper way to do this. And I just don't feel like managing that yet, because then we need to keep it in sync with, if you were to click here, now that changes your scroll vertical. So whatever we're tracking, we need to know also modifies that. What am I doing wrong here? The sine of velocity isn't actually doing anything. When I press up, velocity should be negative. It is. So math.sine of that should also be negative, right? Yeah, so scroll vertical should be -1. It's not actually doing that. That's strange. Huh. Oh, because this is negative. Yeah, right. All right, we're getting to our hacky solution that we have here. There, done. Great. So now anything you can scroll, you can now scroll using the camera keys, which means WASD would also work. Oh, yep, get rid of my breakpoint. Yay. And then we just make that slightly faster, which means that actually we're going to multiply this by 2. Well, we can't just use minus equals because it's either positive or negative. So we need to handle those cases. Yeah, okay. So here, I think I want this to be even double the speed of this. At which point, we should just multiply the delta by something and it'll be fine. And then I don't need any of this wacky code here. Alternatively, have acceleration or something, because even this doesn't seem like it's fast enough. What did we have originally? 10? Let's set this to 8. Okay, so if I go over to here, continue game, I'm using the controller for all this stuff. And then I open up adventures. So now I can scroll. No, I'm scrolling the camera in the background. There's going to be no winning here, is there? All right, well, let's look into this. Because the thing is, we're doing this in unhandled input. Like, nothing else took care of camera events yet. I guess what we could do is just handle this in input, for example. And then there wouldn't necessarily be a problem. This will always take precedence. So now if I do this, yeah, this is still fine. And if I do what this, camera will hopefully go here. No, now it doesn't. Because we don't, this thing isn't even visible. So if not is visible in tree, return. All right, now everything should probably work. All right, we're looking good there. How do I open the menu? Did I not make a way to do that? Really? Seems like a mistake. Hey, nice. Look, we can scroll using the left stick. Hooray. And yeah, we can still scroll this. Great. This doesn't have a scroll thing in it yet, but if we were to shrink the window, it would. But I never added the script to this, so it's not going to work anyway. All right, well, that's something. Oops, I didn't mean to click that. Yeah, that's something. Okay, so here's the big question now. Do we want this behavior where you can click and drag the background? Because you could also do that with a virtual cursor. So like here I can click and then drag. Or I could have just used the camera buttons, which is the left stick. I think it's easier to scroll this with a stick than it is to scroll it by like virtually clicking and dragging. But it might be nice to have. Yeah, I don't know. I think we just stick to the camera buttons. It's easier implementation. Yeah, so we can use, where's my, yeah, there we go. W and S. And we should be able to do that here too. Where do we do it here? Yeah. Yeah, I think I just want to do the camera thing. I love inertia and scrolling. Yeah, I think some kind of acceleration here would probably be nice. I mean, that's what we do for the virtual cursor. Like it starts off slow and then gets faster. Okay. Yeah, I think my conclusion is to just use the camera things. Oh, what a time. So yeah, we went with option 3. There are 2 reasons that I think this is best. It's the easiest implementation, and like we don't need to handle button down anywhere. Input as handled in button down or any other UI elements. And it's how the camera works already. Actually roll up and unroll. Oh no, yeah, that's that's definitely not going to happen at this point. And WASD wouldn't have any other purpose when you're in a UI. So now we just add this script to everything and then undo all the stuff that I did, and we'll have spent like 2 hours on this task. Oh well, I guess that's how this goes sometimes. So this is in its own scroll container, and we give this script. What other scroll containers do we have in the game? I'm trying to think. I gotta write a note somewhere. The new CM run screen should be in a scroll container. They're mimicking dumb humans. I get the implication that you're calling me a dumb human. Hey, Car. Do you use GDScript or C#? I'm using C#. Yeah. And hey, Rami. All right, so this is now going to work for the ability tree. And then anywhere else we have a scroll container, which I'll need to look through and find. But now let's try this out. So we go to story mode. We click continue game. I go into perks. And by default, I guess this doesn't need any scrolling, so I need to shrink the screen. But now, yeah, that's pretty nice. That's pretty nice. Yeah. All right. And you can click these, right? Yeah. How do you find it? Running any limitations? I think it's pretty good. I think there's... I mean, the only limitation that probably would bother some people is that you can't export to the web right now. So like if you wanted to host it in a web player on itch, for example, you couldn't do that. But otherwise, yeah, I think everything's been pretty good with it. Oh, man. All right, let's look up all the other scroll containers that we have. Where are they? I guess I only want to look at CS files. No, what am I talking about? TSCN files? 10? Okay, that's not bad. Like I said, end battle screen, I don't care about. Game settings menu, we've already done. What else? Let's just close them out from over there. In-game menu, we've already done. Instance manager is already done, but a little bit differently. Keybinds menu was not done. So this is going to be called scroll container. And we give it this script. And then we delete whatever it's doing right now. Do we even need to fetch this anymore? Nope. Can't quite remember what those were. Sure it was something along those lines. Yeah, if it was a web export, that would have been a big deal. But if it were something else, there might have been some kind of workaround or like an equivalent way of doing things. I'm not saying everything's been perfect. And even just recently, I figured out there was something that was not what I expected. When you call any function like... Where is it? Any function like this is action pressed. In C#, it takes in a string name. These string names are meant to only have one instance of them. So what happens is you call this from C# like this, like UI accept. And this checks to see, did you press enter? That's what that line of code is doing. But transparently, what's happening to you is UI accept is being converted into a Godot string name. Or whoops, sorry, a string name. So they make a new string name, UI accept, and then it determines, oh wait, no, we didn't need this because we already have one. So then it disposes it. So basically, like every single frame, if you have this line of code, you're creating unnecessary waste without even realizing that you're doing it. that's kind of a gotcha. And they have it listed in the documentation as a gotcha. But like those sorts of things are not obvious. And unfortunately, there's no real way to make it super obvious. I feel like when you're reading this, you only care about what is action press do. Then you have to go look at string name. And even here, I don't think it tells you anything about like, hey, just so you know, don't do this in C#. Man. Got stuck with my car in the snow today because I stopped to see if someone else who had slid off the road and almost got into the water, needed help. Thankfully, all right, yeah. They say no good deed goes unpunished, but for what it's worth, I think you did the right thing. Even junior dev can handle import issues in Python. Gemini couldn't fix it. Yeah. I mean, it's probably doing a lot of things well. And yeah, every once in a while it messes up. Am I in cursor right now? No, this is VS Code. And hey, Grace, other than you actually knowing you're unnecessarily creating garbage every time you call that line, does it actually matter? It did create a performance issue, yes. It was taking up like 4.4% of my I don't know, some cycle that I had. I was doing some performance investigations the other day. But that was actually also caused by another problem. Like I shouldn't have been doing it every frame to begin with. So they're just little things like that. Yeah. A lot of those string name things do happen every frame or every time you like press a button. All right, what else are we doing here? I'm looking at other menus. So keybinds menu should now be done. Party chooser. Do I even care about this? Like how small does the screen have to be for this to have a scroll bar? I mean, there are 2 scroll containers here, and it is trivially easy for us to do this. Oh, wait, but then there'd be no way for you to scroll. No, I don't think we do this one because we won't know where to route input events. Let's say both of these had a scroll bar and you press the up button. Oh, I guess it could scroll them both. Then you need to mark that it's been handled. I'm not going to do anything for this. Yeah, I guess it means that you won't be able to move this. There's another way you could handle this though, and I'll show this off. I don't really think this is going to be a problem for people, but still, let's try it. So imagine your screen is gigantic and you're in the game, or not gigantic, sorry. Imagine your screen is tiny. So it's like this, and you're in the game, and you have all the adventurers, and you go to the battle map. So scrolling this is not going to be easy, but you could always do something like this and like move some of these over and then be like, okay, well, I guess you could just move the scroll bar too. But yeah, so this one's not very usable at a tiny screen size. But I think at that point, we just say you should just have a slightly larger screen size. And then it becomes a little more usable. Because the camera is going to move the right side. But you can see there are other problems with this. So at this point, it'd be like just turn down that. And now there's only the tiniest bit of scrolling needed. And even then, you can still access these characters without scrolling. And then you pick where you want to go, and you go there. Yeah. Can't fix performance issues, security issues, logical issues, basically nothing. I mean, a lot of people are using Gemini, and they presumably have some reason for using it. So it seems to be like maybe you're being overly critical, or maybe there's some other problem causing this. I get that there's a lot of negativity around AI. All right, so we're done with this one. We're not going to touch Party Chooser. Adventures panel tab is done. Choose Perks panel tab. Where is it even used? Choose Perks panel tab. Choices. Oh, this is a bone mode thing, I guess. Yeah. So in here, is there a problem? I don't actually know. We need to like really shrink this window though. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. Cool. This is super broken, but that's broken for a different reason. We got to fix this. Yeah, that's a separate task. And then what about these? Okay, this is not working. So we need to be able to scroll this and presumably this. This one needs to be pretty tiny for you to even need to scroll it. Yep, that one's not working. And then this one, probably the same thing. Shrink this even more. Yep, and probably the same with here. Yeah, so I'm guessing that's all choose perks panel tab. And that should be pretty easy to fix. Choose perks panel tab. Scroll container. Drag this there. Okay, what next? There's a scroll container centered on screen. Where's that used? Game settings menu. Wait, did I mess this up? Hey, Maya. Uh-oh. Yeah, I don't know if I messed this up. Did I change the type of this? Parent. It didn't have a script before this. What? There's a scene for this, but it's literally just... Oh, there's no script for this though, right? What is this? Scroll container forwarding clicks. Okay, I probably should have just changed that one. All right, let's see what's using this. View owners, game settings menu, and in-game menu. Both of these should be fixed at this point. But yeah, I did not realize this. Okay, now this is starting to make a little bit more sense. Why I did things this way. Or why whoever coded this did things this way. Because of that extra space at the top, I think that you can click up there to close this. That's what we wanted to do. And you probably can't do that anymore. Yeah, you can't. Ooh. Ooh. And it doesn't work here either. Ooh. This is why you write comments for these things. I've heard of Git, but never used version control. I guess you're using Git, right? I am using Git. The plus and minus, I'm not sure what you're talking about. These over here. This is the source control view that I have. Yeah, maybe you're talking about like the red and green. This is a diff. So in short, what happens is you write some code and then you'll see your changes over here on the right side. So now if I want to see like, what did I change over here? It's like, oh, I changed the scroll container forwarding clicks into a scroll container. This is a diff, which is just short for difference. It's a difference between the old file and the new file. And if you're like, yep, this looks good, then you click the plus button over here and you write a commit message like changed foo into bar and you hit commit. And now that becomes a commit in Git, which would just be local for you. So now it's only on your machine and you'd eventually push it to whatever central repository you have. And then they could choose to merge it into their code. All right, so yeah, this was a mistake. This was a gigantic mistake. Oh, man. All right, so this is specifically for... I guess we could just keep this how it was. I'm deleting the other scripts, aren't I? No, I'm not deleting those scripts. Oh, man. What we need to do is limit the scroll container that we have here. Can I ask something about Java? Yeah, sure. Like, why don't we do this the opposite way? Why don't I put a VBox container and then the scroll inside of it? There's probably a reason for that. I kind of want to mess with this right now, but it's a little bit risky. Oh, you know what we could do? We could just save this as a totally different screen or scene. Delete me. There. Now we can do any messing with it we want to. Okay, so then let's try this. I want the scroll container centered on the screen. So let's do editable children, make local. Perfect. All right, so it is just, where'd that go? I have too many tabs open. Here it is. It was just a scroll container and a VBox container. Oh, if I made it a VBox container, then this thing would get cut down. I think I'm about to see everything disappear, right? Yes. Well, at least I realized it. So we're saying take up as much space as possible, but then in the extra space, I want to be able to click that. I think there's another way we could accomplish this. But I'm not sure how. Like, what if you had a VBox container that had a blank, like buffers around it, pretty much? Studying CS, and I've been having problems understanding 2D arrays and nested loops, for example, with a matrix multiplication. What's the best way to practice that and get better at understanding it? Have you ever entered the debugger? Because I think that's a pretty good way of looking through things. And just to show you what I mean here, let's go to like any for loop we have in the code. Okay, here. So I'll show you what I'm talking about here. I'm waiting for this to load. Okay, so we're gonna continue a game here, and we're gonna go to a battle. Okay, so the mage has a skill in this game that casts a bunch of different lightning bolts, and the way that it's coded is with a for loop. So as soon as it casts it, this little red dot is a breakpoint, and it just broke into the debugger. So right now, what we're able to do is inspect any part of the code that we want to check. So we're in lightning zaps. This is the mage's spell. We're in the use function, which is how they use their spell. We figure out how many bolts we want to cast, and in this case, it is 5. And then we have our for loop here. And what we can do is we can just click this button and look through each line. So we get a target, and we can actually inspect this. The target is a thing, right? We could look at what this is. It's a bat, because there's only the bat in the battle, so we know that it's a bat. So it's not null, so we're not going to go into that. And we're going to cast bolt on this thing. And then when this is done, we're going to go into the second loop of this. So now I is set to 1, and we're casting another bolt. And we're going to keep doing this for 5 lightning bolts, right? But the point of this is you can see anything that's happening, and you can correct any assumptions you might have as you're going through this. Like, let's say I was going through this, and I'm like, wait, why are we not casting another bolt? And I realize, oh man, target is null. Like, okay, well, why is target null? So now what we would do is we'd go into here and see like, well, it must be that this is returning null. So we go into this and we take a look at get enemy targets, and we go through here and we see, oh, there's whatever, no enemies alive left or something, right? I don't actually have a problem here, so I can't show you a problem. But yeah, that could potentially help you. Hey, Funky Monkey, Happy New Year. Thank you for the resub. I just looked over your slides again that you'd shared with me and all the notes I'd taken, and I didn't really take any major actions because it was long enough ago where the game has just gotten better naturally and we're running out of time. I am trying to work on some UI stuff right now. We call it zippy zapping. Zippy zappy snappy. So yeah, I think the debugger helps because it turns what is otherwise like a dense loop into something that you can just unwind. If you think about it, let's say you had something like this for I from 1 to 3, like, I don't know, do something. This is the same code as this. Just writing out do something 3 times. If you were not a programmer, it'd be easier for you to understand this method of doing things, just seeing, oh, hey, it's doing something 3 times, as opposed to this method where you'd be like, I from 1 to 3, like, is that inclusive? Is it not inclusive? What is this I for? It's not like it's much harder to understand. But then once you nest these things, you say like, okay, for I from 0 to row count, and for J from you know, 0 to column count. And you're like, okay, let's like get position I, J, something like that. Hey, Torque. Thanks for the raid. Welcome in. Let me see. It's just the matrix multiplication is hard for me to understand. Add and subtract is easy. I feel like every good programmer can implement it without any problems. Yeah. So have you used the debugger before? And Torque, how's your stream? We're working on something here. I don't even know what anymore. Oh yeah, that's right. Figuring out how to get both of these behaviors that I wanted, which is like an on click in the background. Got redstone ticks, redstone buttons work. That's good. Looking good. How's your day? I've been working on kind of just one problem the whole day, and we pretty much solved it. So the issue was there are a lot of dialogues in the game that if your screen size is really tiny, or if you just like super zoomed in on everything, so like let's say our window size is only this big, like how do you on a controller, how would you scroll this window? So like you could move the cursor here and then click and then like drag. That works, but this is a really tiny target. So instead now you can use just the left stick to scroll up and down. And that works for now, hopefully everywhere in the game. But there are some little things I've got to fix as a result of this. So same thing over in perks here. It's like, oh, well, this is too tiny to even see really. But like, if for whatever reason you're on a screen this tiny, you now could still use it. Whereas before you'd have to be like, okay, let's drag this thing down. I can't even do this. Yeah, let's drag this down and then this one to the side. And you can see how unwieldy this is. Yeah, now it's like just natural scrolling. Yeah, there's some Easter eggs. Those little skellies on the soundbar are so cute. You know, I was just mentioning this. We got, I think, 3 comments so far on this. Dark suggested this yesterday. It was not on our radar at all. And I'm like, we have to do this. And yeah, sure enough, I think it looks really, really nice. And I don't think we're using this graphic anywhere else in the game. Quickie Joe drew this, and I always find it to be a shame when someone draws something that I'm just not using. So yeah, now we're using it. And it does look good. All right, so the current problem that we have, it turns out that, where is it? Scroll container forwarding clicks actually had a purpose. So now I want that and the new script. So option 1 here is combine them into a single script. Option 2 is figure out a different scene hierarchy that will let us bypass the need for scroll container forwarding clicks. I mean, option number 1 is just so much simpler. So let's just do that. If you're on 4.5 plus, you could mix it. What, that's a thing? What? I think they're called traits. Where's... I mean, they have this Godot 4.5 release. They might talk about it in here. Trait. Mix. What do they call it? They probably highlight it. Oh, oops. I meant to click scripting. Periodic arguments, abstract classes and methods. Well, they don't highlight it here. Yeah, if you could find any documentation on that, that'd be great. I'd love to know more about that. But I don't see it in the scripting thing. Maybe it's in highlights. I feel like I've read all their blog posts. I don't remember seeing something like that. Where is it? Unique append signal source. Oh, it's a future plan feature. Okay, gotcha. Yeah. Okay, so let's combine this into a single script. So it's really just copy pasting this. And now we have scroll with this. Yep. All right, so on click, and it has a GUI input, which I already had down there. And we check for this. I mean, we're not apparently going to keep any of this other stuff. I should probably put it in deleted code. And then whatever code I had there already now needs to be changed. This would be scroll container with scroll shortcuts. So now that's good. And then same thing over here. And then put our on click back in. Close. And now that should work. Abstract classes and functions. Gotcha. Yeah, I'm curious what the traits thing will look like, because that sounds pretty interesting. Because yeah, for UI elements, I find myself wanting that. For most other things, I don't really need it necessarily, but it would still help there too. Okay, so now, ideally, when you click the background here, close this. It's also going to work when you click this, it's going to close it. So now we need to change. This is so stupid. It's so stupid. There's maybe a better way to do this. I wonder about the scene hierarchy thing. Because it shouldn't be when you click the scroll container that something happens. It should be when you click the blank space outside of it. But it's all considered to be part of the scroll container. I think what we need to do is have a script on the scroll container that sizes it based on the children and knows what the max size should be. Because the way this works right now is this takes up the whole screen. Because the scroll container needs to know what the bounds of its scrolling would be. Any big plans? Yeah, the launch is the big plan. That'll be March 17th. 10,000 wish list. I mean, we're almost at 10,000. The rate has really been picking up in the last week for some reason. Like today alone, we've gotten plus 60. So we're 300 away. Not too bad. But yeah, the chart has been going nuts. This is the first day that it dropped. It only dropped by 2 and it was a Tuesday. So I mean, that wasn't too crazy. So I hope this shoots up on the weekend. Yeah, number of players has been going up. Number of wish lists has been going up. We've had, where's today? We had 45 people claim the game today. 2 people are playing right now. What's weird about this is, okay, so normally, whenever this happens, there are knock-on effects. And the most common knock-on effect was like publishers and contractors would start reaching out. I wonder, this hasn't happened lately. And I wonder if the reason why is because the release date is now March 17th. So they're like, oh, he must have some plan if it's only, 2 months and 10 days from now. But before, when it was longer away, yeah, I'd see people join Discord and be like, hey, do you need a publisher? Hey, do you need someone to translate this? Hey, do you need whatever, anything? And yeah, that hasn't happened. The other thing that hasn't happened, which I think is a little bit strange, is we haven't gotten more reviews. It's a demo, and I suspect that's what it has to do with. But there have been 63 reviews for like 9,000 players. And that's just kind of a crazy ratio, I feel. Right? Where's the number of players? Yeah, 9,000. Yeah. Usually it's like a multiply by 50 kind of thing or something, but that's for released games. But yeah, here it's, what's the factor? Multiply by 143. I don't think the reviews help the demo like a ton. I think they help the release game a lot. But it doesn't hurt having positive reviews. All right, so we fixed this, but then we broke another thing. Pretty solid for an unreleased game. Seen a lot of release games in the tens. Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good. And like I said, I think it's nice that metrics are picking up. I've been marketing some more. There's been one new video from someone I reached out to, and the view count is pretty good, 455. They also made a short that's got 700 views. And they really like the game. I mean, I think that's the important part. Unfortunately, they did not like the sounds or the music. I felt bad. So I spent hours on the music, like tons of hours. And I've got to spend even more hours finishing the final track that I have planned. What have you been doing for marketing? So the only thing lately has been more influencer outreach. Man, it's actually kind of like there's like a puzzle in reaching Twitch people, Twitch streamers. So a lot of Twitch streamers, you'll go to their page and they have no email listed. So you have to like hope that they have their Twitter account because for whatever reason, people are fine listening to their emails on Twitter. Or you have to find their Discord and like DM them. But there's some like, I don't know. Yeah. Like I said, it's like a puzzle, but then getting them to respond is also kind of a puzzle. I have a plan. There's this YouTuber that I want to reach out to who's got like 2 million subscribers. But they have, I don't know the name of it, but anyway, they have some like talent agency in front of them. So imagine instead of an email like Adam at, skeleseller.com or something like that, it's Adam at like prcompany.com. So when you reach out to these people, like all they really care about is this a good opportunity for my client? So like I, Adam, will not see this email. It's going to be the PR company that sees it. And then they're going to be like, oh, Adam, someone's offering you, $2,000 to play a game for 2 hours or something like that. Like, do you want to do this? So if I'm like, hey, I'm making an indie game. Do you want to play my game? They're going to be like, I'm not going to forward this. So what I was wondering about is this YouTuber who's got 2 million subs, they have a PO box listed. And I was thinking mailing them, like physically mailing them. I don't know if that's a bad idea or if that's like a violation of some expectation. I mean, it's kind of no different from spam mail coming to your house, right? And then anyway. Will the reviews transfer over from the demo? No, they don't. The demo reviews are in their own little isolated container. You can only choose, do you want the reviews to show or not? They don't transfer, and hiding them doesn't delete them. So let's say for whatever reason your game was at like 10,000 reviews and it was overwhelmingly negative. You could just hide them for your demo. But when you show them again, you're going to see the 10,000 reviews and you're going to see overwhelmingly negative. So yeah, I think it's worth showing reviews on a demo. And I think if they start getting negative, I don't know what you do at that point. Who's your music guy? Yeah, I'll talk to him. He'll change his tune on them beats. Maybe. I don't know. He started by saying they were good. And then he said, the music's fine. And like everyone's entitled to their opinion. That's totally okay. You can always mute the music. But it was a bummer. And congrats, hard worker, on your first salary. They instantly add a fee and take a percentage. Yeah. And I think the more important thing is like they have a frame of reference of what they're being offered. So if there's an offer for $2,000 for 2 hours of gameplay, and then there's an offer for $5,000 for whatever, 1 hour, and then you come in and you're like, oh, I can give you $100 for whatever, an hour of gameplay. They're not going to pass this on. They're not going to be like, oh yeah, that's worth it. They're getting like 20, 50 times that. But you don't know their frame of reference. So you have to be like, hey, how much would you want for this? Then they throw a figure at you. It's going to be like way higher than you probably want it to be. So I'm kind of thinking of like, what creative ways can I use to bypass this? Rate Irish John Games. Oh yeah. I've rated John a bunch of times. He's rated me before. We both know about each other's games and have given each other shout outs and stuff. And hey, Ender, Miss Ender. You have to really put the effort into the demo for it to not negatively affect your release in that review system. Yeah, I think there's quite a lot to this. I mean, I think the core of any game is your game good? Like, is it worth playing? Because you might feel like, oh, I've seen people dump, $5 million into marketing. The game sucks, but it did well. This is generally not the case. It's typically not the case that a game sucks and somehow marketing fixed it. The game was probably still appealing to people. It just wasn't appealing to you. And it might appeal to like the lowest common denominator. I mean, Candy Crush is a well-made game, for example. They also have a gigantic marketing budget, and they have I think microtransactions in the game, so like they're making a lot of money. But a lot of people say like, oh, this is a bad game or it's unoriginal. A lot of people don't agree with that. Maybe they agree on the unoriginal part. That might be true. But a lot of people enjoy the game. So I don't think you can have a bad game, like a game that people don't want to play, and somehow you wouldn't find $50 million to funnel into it, but funnel 50 million into it and then have it do well. I don't think that would happen. So I think the first thing is make your game good. So would you put effort into your demo? Yes, because you're putting effort into your game, and your game is what people are going to play. So I don't think you could make some like, well, maybe you could do this, but I think it'd be hard to make just a prototype with like really raw graphics and sound and everything, and be like, hey, is this game mechanic fun? I think you would not put that on Steam. I think you'd put that on like Itch, or you'd share it on Discord or something. And then if people are like, yeah, this is looking pretty good, I think you'd polish it at least a little bit before you put it on Steam as a demo. Only release a demo when it's 95% ready. I think release a demo when the demo is ready. Saying 95% ready for the whole game, it's like we launched the demo for Skeleseller in February of last year. That was after, 10 months of development at that point? By the time we release, it will have been 23 months of development. So just in terms of those numbers, 10 divided by 23 is 43%. So it's like we were 43% through development when we decided to release the demo. And I think that's pretty reasonable. Yeah. They're putting the soundtrack on YouTube or on Steam for whatever amount. Probably just on YouTube for free. And hey, Eugene, welcome in. Okay, so we got to revert the scene tree changes that I made to this, mostly in terms of the mouse filter. The panel container can't change, basically. And then same thing here. And I got to write this somewhere. I guess we write it over here. This is specifically for scroll containers that fill the screen. As such, you need a child to prevent mouse clicks from propagating up, so that we assume any clicks that made it here would cause this to close. E.g. the settings menu, since it should take up as much vertical space as it can, but if there's extra, the player should be able to close the settings by clicking that extra, since it looks like background, the background to them. Oop, I meant to put a space there. Oh no, now it's fine. I put the space first. Everything is working, all the graphics are placeholder. Did you have demo reviews on? Would not recommend. I think Steam gives you a bunch of free impressions. I see. Yeah. Because I think we launched without demo reviews, and I think we've eventually turned them on. And I think the reviews are good. I think the reviews also, by the way, do something else that's kind of interesting. And I hadn't thought about this until I just saw someone do it. But let me show this. And this might be a little bit hard to find. So if I can't find, oh yeah, here. For example, someone says video. So this is, I think, an influencer. I'm not going to click this link right now, but this is an influencer I probably reached out to and who played the game. And now we each benefit from this, right? I get a video, so I reach their audience, and then they get to put this on the Steam page, so they get the audience of the game. And at least one other person did this too somewhere. So that's another really nice thing about, yeah, like this. Watch my full review here. And some of these people got a decent amount of views as a result of this, I think. Like one of these, can I sort by view count? The first person I noticed who did this was this person. They got 1,600 views on their Skeleseller video. And if you look at their videos, and this is not like a slam at them, actually they're doing pretty well now. 2,300, but the ones before that were like 89, 33. This one got 1,000, 19, 75. So like a lot of these did not do super well. And I imagine being first on a Steam page with a video is a pretty good thing for an influencer. Never had demo reviews on. I see. Yeah. I think it's good for getting feedback too. Hope it becomes $1 billion game and you hire me as a product manager. There's like a 0% chance, not zero, but very close to 0% chance of it becoming $1 billion game. I think when you look at other games that became super successful, you realize there's a lot more like sort of depth and maybe even breadth to them. Skeleseller, it's not like it's a throwaway game, but it just never intended to be at that level. If not, zero means possible. Yeah, but I mean, it's like saying it's possible to find $1 billion on the ground. It technically is possible. Someone could take $1 billion out of like however many different banks it would take to do that, and then put it on the ground, and then you could stumble on it. But it might as well be zero, right? Like that's never going to happen to anybody. Okay, so we get rid of this stuff. I kind of want to save this later, for later. Save this code somewhere. It took some time to figure out, and I think I want to write about it. You're gonna give Silksong a second shake? I'd like to, yeah. So you're telling me there's a chance? Yes, one chance. Okay, so now I think we've fixed every problem and we just have a bunch of extra code, which I'm gonna have to work through at some point. I was wondering, is it worth playing Hollow Knight first? I bought Hollow Knight on Nintendo Switch, and I did not buy Silksong, but it's on Game Pass, and I have Game Pass, so it's kind of like I bought Silksong. And I just never really got into Hollow Knight, and then, like I said, I didn't really give Silksong a good shot. Still in the scrolling issue. Well, I mean, I've been interacting with chat a lot, and trying not to think of how crushing it is that I had to spend this much time on this. All right, so I hit save. Now we click the background. That works. We click this. That doesn't work. Good. We go over here. We try the same thing. The background should close it. Yep. And then this should not. That does. That means that I did not properly adjust the game settings menu. There's probably a mouse filter here that I forgot to revert. There isn't. What? Oh. I don't know what game settings menu is. It's in-game menu. So there's a mouse filter here that I forgot to revert. Right there. Problem solved. Yeah, problem solved. What caused you to bounce? It was so slow. It was slow and boring. I played for like 2 hours. I was not having fun at practically any point. And I thought 2 hours was a good enough amount of time. I hear it gets faster and better and more challenging later. But yeah, I just felt like there were these long empty screens. The fights were slow. Yeah. I don't tend to have a lot of patience when I play new games, in case that's not obvious. I want to be hooked pretty quickly. I do wonder if, let's say I knew that I liked Metroidvanias, and let's say I'd never played Super Metroid, how would I feel about playing this game nowadays? Because I am very fond of this game, even though I don't think I would enjoy playing it very much anymore. Like, I've probably played through it maybe 5 times in my life. And each time I'm like, yeah, this starts fun. I like the atmosphere. I like the music. I like the graphics. I like the character. But I just kind of, I don't know. It doesn't like hook me anymore. Hey, player. Yeah, so anyway, in the like 10 minutes or 15 minutes I played of Silksong, it had kind of the same problems as Hollow Knight, which is that it was just like slow and boring and had a lot of big screens. But I was playing on a keyboard, and that was obnoxious. So I think I'd want to play on a controller, but I'm guessing the first 2 hours are going to feel kind of the same. You talking about how much Adam hates games? Well, yes, but to be fair, I didn't start this. Cruddlefish asked if I'm going to give Silksong another chance. Also, I don't fault Cruddlefish for asking about this or anything. I'm just saying I'm not always on this soapbox because of me. So yeah, I figured out quite a lot here. I want to write some notes on this. I guess none of this is actually even that interesting, huh? Did we still do that percent chancing? Yeah, this sucks. I would say perhaps skip it. Yeah. I've seen this happen with games in the past where they start fun and then they get boring. I can't think of many games where they start boring and then they get fun. I'm sure it's happened to me. I'm not talking about in general. I'm talking about with me specifically. Like, what worked that way for me? Yeah, I don't know for sure. Maybe like the only thing I can kind of think about is when the tutorial really sucks in a game. The tutorial might be really boring, but then the game is fun. But yeah, I don't know how often that happens. I'm that person. I got on my backlog, played the first 50 minutes, enjoyed it. Or I have like 12 other games. Yeah, I know we've talked about Super Metroid before, and I am still curious what you eventually think. Played a few more hours of the first Hollow Knight. It was a game that made me have to face the fact I hate dying to spikes. A lot of very old games were punishing in that regard. Like, man, Castlevania on the NES. Not a very easy game. It took me about 8 hours. Wow. Huh. Okay. Yeah, maybe it's something I'll try to stick to. I'm not sure. I've been playing Stardew again lately. And you know what prompted me to play this, I think, is hearing, and this is not even new. I don't know what it was about this particular time, but hearing people who just took their time in the game. Like, I am very much a type A personality, and I'm like, okay, got to do this, this, this. Everything turns into a checklist in the game. And then eventually I complete all the combat stuff, and I'm like, okay, now I'm bored. So this time around, I haven't fully completed the combat stuff, but I'm about to. And I wonder if I'll also get bored or if I'll be like, you know what? I'm just going to take my time. I'm going to still farm. I'm going to do whatever. Yeah. They track me. Super Metroid isn't that long. It's like maybe 8 hours fresh. Yeah, it's not super long. Do you mind if I say how long it is? Because I can look up how long to beat. I'm curious for myself, and I could just say it out loud. Oh, well, you're pretty much spot on. So, never mind. Yeah, it's 7.5 hours, apparently. All right, so I guess I don't want to save this stuff. Do I even want to talk about anything in here? Class allows you to use the camera keys. Both of these are difficult on a controller. This class allows you to use the camera shortcuts. Okay. This also does one extra thing. Clicks anywhere on the container. Yeah, I should just put this comment over here and then just say, see the class level comment about why this is here. Just because this is the easiest dumping ground for this. Raises an on-click event when the player clicks anywhere on the container. This is specifically for scroll containers that fill the screen, blah, blah, blah. All right, this is quite the comment. Let me read this again. Half of it I typed earlier. Specifically for scroll containers that fill the screen, settings menu should take up as much vertical space as it can, but if there's extra, the player should be able to close the settings by clicking that extra space since it looks like the background to them, even though it's the scroll container. And then this goes here. As such, you need a child to prevent mouse clicks from propagating up. So we assume any clicks made that made it here would cause this to close. e.g. a panel container. All right, there's our beefy comment. Played through Stardew 3 times. Each time was basically mainlining it for 3 days. Optimize and min-max things. Wow. Been clean for 4 years. Been slowly working my way through Blasphemous 2. Got like 24 hours over 3 months. Oh, nice. Yeah. Yeah, for me, I find this kind of interesting because the idea of replaying the game is super appealing to me. The practice of replaying is very tedious, and it comes down to a few things. It's fishing, it's those like monster rewards, like kill 1,000 slimes, and it's the, I don't know, there's some other things in it too. Like the golden, well, I'm not going to go into more, but anyway, more things like this. Where I feel like I have to do it, but I don't want to do it. And there aren't that many alternatives for getting through it. So, yeah, this time around I started up an old save file, and my farm was called the Botland Farm. So it's probably from like 2019 or something. Okay, so we got to fix this garbage code. And I think at this point we could potentially do it by... well, I wanted some acceleration here, right? But yeah, we could do this. So velocity.x times delta times 100. This is almost certainly going to be too fast. And I'm just going to tone down that times 100 until it's good. So how do we, what's going wrong? Oh, whoops. Scroll horizontal. This all needs to be an int. Math.round. This part probably didn't matter. But there we go. All right, so yeah, like I said, I'm not even going to think about these numbers. We're just going to press the button, and if it goes super fast, it goes super fast, and then we just tone down the 100 until we get down to something good. Okay, it's actually too slow. Interesting. So I'd say it should go to about maybe double or triple this speed. Let's try double. Oh, what? There we go. Honestly, that's not bad. But I want it to be a little faster than that. Let's change this to 250. Wait, you haven't played Stardew Magnetic Bind? Oh, I don't think I knew that. Huh. Yeah, you can just ignore the in-game timer if you want to. There's, as far as I know, there's, I think, literally one thing that is like day bound. I think you have 3 years to do this thing. And if you are trying to optimize things, you can complete it in like year 2. So you could have like double the amount of time you actually have to do it. How about using GPU particles 2D on the title screen to do particles from the potion bottle to the portal? Make the screen more dynamic? Yeah, I think it would look cool. We would need to change the art so the particles aren't there already. But yeah, I think that sort of thing would be cool. I'll write this down. All right, how's the scrolling speed now? Yeah, I think that's fine. How does it feel for the rest of the game? So if I go over to here, yeah, I think this is reasonable. And then what about perks? Oh, we don't have perks. Load game? No, we still don't have perks. Okay. Well, I must have accidentally deleted it. Now we have perks. Yeah, this feels pretty good. And it doesn't get in the way of this, and the battle map makes it work. Yep. Oh, and then I did not test this on bone mode. I gotta go do that. Continue game. Do we have anything here? Nice, that works. All of these should work. Well, I gotta make the screen smaller. Yep. 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 Nice. Okay. Man, you know what I'm really looking forward to is Slay the Spire 2. I'm going to spend a lot of time in that game. In fact, I think I mentioned this the other day, but every year my wife and I do predictions. And it's just, yeah, I did mention this the other day. We ask a question, we guess the result, and we have a confidence level. And one of our questions was, who is going to spend more time playing Slay the Spire 2? And I think we both said it would be my wife. But I think I was more confident than she was in that. And I plan on playing it a lot. So that says something. This delete me scene can be gone. And yeah, now we just actually look through the commit and see if there's anything we need. Looks fine. This, I think I renamed something. And that caused a whole bunch of other things to look like they changed, but not really. It's just a rename. Mark event handle. Oh, no. This is not the rename. This is something else that's stupid. We got to go delete all these nodes now. Add button. No, it's not add button. It's mark. It's not even this. It's in-game menu. Yeah, here. Delete all these. Delete. All right. So now the diff for in-game menu should be quite minimal. Yep. Cool. Was a range around the launch date for Slay the Spire 2? I mean, not really, no. Slay the Spire 2 just has a launch month right now of March. And I'm launching on the 17th. So just based on the odds of when they launch, it's good chances that they launch before me. Which, yeah, might be bad. I don't know. Are they making any big changes to the system? I am purposely not looking into this, so I don't know. I want it to be a surprise for myself. Yeah. March 26th. Slay the Spire 2 Steam. It's still, here it just says March. They might have announced it somewhere else. Maybe that's March 2026 and I'm just stupid. I think it's just 2026 because I think if they had an official release date, they would put it on their Steam page. Maybe they want some flexibility while they finish some things up. All right, keybinds menu. What do we have here? This I did rename to just scroll container. So that cascaded a whole bunch of those renames down there. That's fine though. This should be the same thing. Just change the script. Oh, we changed mouse filters though. Oh, actually some of these needed to change. Doesn't this mean that we're gonna, oh, I didn't test that. Yeah, I think this means you can close. I think you can now close some dial. Oh no, nothing listens for that. So it's not a problem. Aha, cool. All right, but technically none of that was necessary. Are any of these anything other than 0? Yeah, this one. Or other than 1. Okay. Adventure skill button. What is this? I didn't even touch this. Just revert this. Yeah. And then close off all the tabs we have over here. What else? What else? Everything's normal so far. This shouldn't exist. Delete you. This shouldn't exist. Player ability tree. That looks good. Okay, so now we're down to script changes. This is fine, but there's no reason for this to have been saved in the class. Oh, no, there is because of that. Okay, that's... Wait, what? What? Oh, I see. So the keybinds menu should work. It's pretty much all that's saying. Oh, and can we scroll this with the camera? Yes. Ooh, good. Yeah, this was unusable before, I think. You might actually want this to scroll a little bit faster. In fact, maybe we should have it scroll as a percentage of how much stuff there is, so that we're always scrolling by a minimum of this speed, but when there's more to scroll, we scroll through it a little faster. That might be pretty good. Hey, next door. Okay, so someone remind me if I forget to do that. Change speed of scroll. It's going to hopefully come back to me in the next 20 seconds, but I just wanted to make sure that this thing isn't broken. Okay, no. All right, so let's go do that. Yeah, let's change the speed of the scrolling. So that comes from scroll with this, and we do these things here. So I want to change the scroll speed. Oh, here it's at the 1. I want to increase the scroll speed if... So this isn't needed. We can just say 1. And then here we set the speed. And if, how do we figure out how much you can scroll by? Scroll bar V, get scroll bar, get V scroll bar dot what? There's a max or something? Max value, there it is. Yeah. All right, so the max value is greater than, well, I don't even know what. Let's just print this out. And then put these here, speed. What's your view on text-based video games? Do you think they still have a market? They probably still have a market. I don't know much about the market for them. I also think that as AI gets better, text-based games are probably going to get even easier to produce. So, yeah, but I haven't really played a text-based game myself, so I don't know. Yeah, I don't know much about the market. For anything like that, I'd probably like, can you search text-based games on Steam? Best text-based games on Steam. This page isn't going to load, is it? Oh, here we go. Firework holds the #1 spot. 43,000 reviews. Okay, yeah, let me look at this off screen just in case. This is not text-based. Or they mean something different by text-based. I'm assuming you mean no graphics, right? Like it could be played in a terminal. Yeah, I don't know how you even, maybe they're not even on Steam or something. But yeah, I would probably, what I would do if you care about the market research, I'd probably just go find what games even exist in that category, and then what kind of reviews do they get. And from there, you could potentially extrapolate how many sales they got. And then you could also kind of guess what their average price was that it sold for. You can typically assume that there would have had price changes over the course of like 5 or 10 years or something. So what you're seeing might not be the price it used to sell at. And then, yeah, if that number seems too low, then it might not be worth doing from a monetary perspective, but it could still be worth doing from a creative perspective. All right, so if I open this and I scroll here, we'll see what the size of this one is. This one is 933. So game settings 933. What I'm most concerned with is the keybind settings, and that is 1735. Keybind 1735. So is it slow to go through a dialogue that's only this tall? A tiny bit, but not a lot. But yeah, one that's bigger than like 1500. So let's say, well, the speeds need to be in different directions, right? No, maybe not. Maybe that's not a good idea. I don't actually know about that. Higher max scroll. All right, max value is what, an int, a double. Is this not a thing? What am I doing? Oh, this is the Godot version? No, it's .NET. Yeah, what's going on here? Oh, because I set this to a float. Okay, so that's a higher one. And now speed is going to be higher max scroll is greater than about a 1200. Set it to maybe 300, otherwise set it to 200. For tall screens, scroll faster. Search some text-based games. Saw that some games had visuals. Yeah. I was just talking to a friend of mine yesterday who said he's gotten really into those XR glasses. And I was like, do you ever use it for productivity? And he said, no. He just uses it for gaming. And I could see the appeal. Is this faster? Can't even tell. I guess we'll just make it faster and faster until I feel it. But yeah, having what is essentially like a large TV resting on your face and not having to crane your neck and not having to, I guess it all depends. Like when I'm playing the Switch, if I'm laying in bed, my hands will get tired because I'm holding the Switch over my face. But if I could have the controller be at my sides, but I need something to hold the screen up, that's where the glasses would come in. But I don't have those glasses. Yeah, that's pretty reasonable. I think it's fine. Is this jittering? I think there's some temporal aliasing here because we're condensing a double delta value into an integer scroll value. And I don't care about this. We've spent so much time on this so far. So I'm going to just say that that's that. The rest of this looks fine. I should probably mention this is input. Oh, can't do that now. There are many old video games that were text-based, so many nostalgic factor. Maybe nostalgic factor is good. I don't know. I'm kind of torn on this when it comes to genres of anything. Like if you think of music, for example, I don't know how many new music genres there are per year, but there are more music genres now than there were like 200 years ago. And yet you could still play music from 200 years ago. So I feel like the audience for any particular genre can just kind of dwindle. And text-based games are kind of the same way in that, is there an infusion of new players playing text-based games? Nostalgia would capture older gamers, but how are you going to get like lifeblood into the genre? And maybe it's from just a out of the park, like best text-based game you could ever have. But I think you need to take a modern approach with it. So as an example, maybe it is like AI voiced text and you have different AI voices. You don't necessarily need graphics or something, but that way it's like they're talking to you. And maybe you even have like overlapping voices and it's all based on what you're doing in the game. I don't know. Something like that would probably have to happen for people nowadays to be like, okay, this is worth checking out. And even then, you'd probably get a very common piece of feedback saying, wow, this would be great with graphics. So we got this and never did anything with it? Huh, yeah. Keybinds menu. Keybinds menu technically doesn't really need this, I guess, because it's always so tall. But you could shrink the screen. So yeah, actually maybe this is a problem. Huh. I'll try this out. The question is, can I get the keybinds menu to fit entirely on the screen if I do this? Yeah, and now you can't click the background. Okay, well, that's a bug we just discovered right now. And it's very, very easy to fix. So we do one of those, we do one of those. We change this to with whatever it's called. No, what's it called? There it is. Then we do this. And we do this. Scroll container on click plus equal. And whatever closes. We must have a close thing, right? Yeah, close. It's as though you clicked done in this case. I think that's fine. Well, wait, what happens when you click the background? Let's go take a look at that. Scroll the overlay background. Remap action null? What does that do? Oh, that's for remapping. What about for this dialogue? It's probably closed. Yeah, it's probably closed. Let's just try it. I can't click the game settings button now because I messed something up. Node not found. In the keybinds menu, where is that? It's just called scroll container. Wow. 3 hours spent. I mean, I still think this was probably worthwhile. I could have done it faster, but the overall result is that now you can use the controller to scroll things, which is important. So that calls close. And what gets called when you click the side of it? The same thing. Okay, yeah, then this is fine. So now if I increase the size of this, go to edit keybinds. What if I do that? Yeah, nice. Yay! We can finally check it in. Oh man, so allows scrolling scroll containers via controllers. And what does this fix? This issue? 495. So I'm going to just say I'm changing the task here to allow scrolling via a controller. The actual left click drag mechanic isn't super important. Plus, even on keyboard, WASD will work to scroll this. Yeah, okay. Comment. Fixes this. I tried making left click drag the scroll containers, but I ran into some issues. For one, I didn't know which behavior I wanted out of it. On mobile, if you drag, it will ignore any element under the mouse. To get that behavior in Godot, I think you would need to make a node that covers the whole scroll container and then do a bunch of extra work just so that events don't propagate. Don't go to buttons first and then the scroll container. Then even with the behavior I was trying, which is to have the scroll container get the event last, buttons still triggered their button down events. I made a node that simply marked button down as handled and added that to buttons. But I would have needed to do this on all nodes that could show up in a scroll container. This sounded unwieldy enough that I settled for camera controls. Plus, they work. Okay. Mega comment here. Oh, you know what? This comment doesn't really belong here. It belongs in the issue. That way we don't need to look through Git history to see this. Yeah. See that issue for more information. Whew. All right, one issue done. Supposed to be getting like tens of issues done per week. Okay, so the next issue is this one. Add option to mute audio when Skeleseller doesn't have the focus. I don't really think this is important. Yeah, I'm just going to close this. I don't mind doing it, though, once someone asks, or like enough people ask for it, and we have tabbed dialogues already so that it doesn't clutter what's there. Yeah, I'm just going to close this, though. So this was opened in 2024. 2024 is before we knew how gameplay would actually shake out here. Way back then, I was actually debating on, is Skeleseller an idle game or not? And I've come to the conclusion since then that it isn't. At least not really. It's idle light at best. If it were a full-on idle game, it takes 50 hours to beat and you're expected to just have it open all the time, then yeah, you probably want to mute the music when you don't have the focus. But most of the time, people playing Skeleseller will have the game as their focus. And if they do want to mute the music, then they could manually control it for now until I hear enough people tell me that that's annoying, and then I just fix it. So that issue is, quote unquote, done. Make workers prioritize nearest storeroom displays. And storing the items, they should prioritize the last item display and not random. This way they always store them near the storage entrance. There is one caveat to doing things this way, which is that we don't reserve destinations, we only reserve sources. So if, let's say, the warehouse is fully accessible and we have a ton of workers and we make a bunch of items, they're all, whoops, they go in the warehouse first. Well, anyway. Yeah, if there were a bunch of items on the ground and each worker were always going to the lowest one, they need to reserve that destination. Whereas if they pick randomly, then the odds of them being preempted would be lower. So I think I'm going to close this issue too. I still like the idea behind this, but workers don't reserve destinations for items. So choosing randomly will obviate preemption. Is that a word? Yeah. E.g., imagine this scenario. You have 64 open warehouse slots. You have 64 skeletons, and there are 64 items on the ground. Each skeleton would pick up an item, and without reserving a destination, they would all seek out the same warehouse slot. Then one skeleton would make it there first, and the remaining 63 would seek out another slot. Yeah. Management game. I don't even totally know what I should consider the main genre. I just organized my tags on Steam, and I put, I guess management shows up first. I don't remember if I put it first, but I think shopkeeper was actually first. And there's another tag that I have on here, capitalism. Where is it? There. This is actually kind of interesting because I do think based on similar games, like they all kind of look sort of the same. Not Water Park Simulator, I guess. Well, some of them look the same. Like Supermarket Together, Supermarket Simulator. Bizarre. I wouldn't consider that capitalism. Yeah. Out of curiosity, where do we show on here? We will hopefully be toward the top. Yeah, there it is. All right, so we're like game number 20 on here or something. There aren't that many. There are only 570 upcoming games. Or wait, no, maybe this isn't. Maybe that's not even upcoming. Hold on a second. How many are out? Oh, no, that is upcoming. Oh, that's weird. Why is popular upcoming 570 matches, but upcoming is 708? That means that in order to be on popular, you need some minimum amount of wish lists, I guess? Because it doesn't say that. It just says all upcoming games sorted by wish list. So if upcoming has 708, then popular upcoming should also have 708, right? Did I try the bazaar? No. I don't want to try it for a bunch of reasons. From the gaming side, I don't want to get sucked in. From the business side, I don't particularly like how Rainad kind of handled some of the monetization backlash. Probably some 200 games are just unreviewed or badly reviewed AI slop. Yeah, maybe. I wonder what the criteria is. Because like I said, it could be number of wish lists. It could be like, oh, if you have fewer than 1,000 wish lists, you just don't show up on that or something. I don't know. In fact, I wonder if it's worse in other genres or other tags. Like if I go to RPG should have a ton of upcoming games, right? Upcoming 9,756. Okay, and then we click popular, and it's only 7,000. So like 2,750 or 2,800. I don't know, something like that got cut out of here. So yeah, what's the reason? Huh. All right, so close is not planned. What's next? Verify texture settings before launch. What's this about? We need linear filter for text. Oh, I did this the other day. Also, that's kind of clever. I didn't think about that. Write a script that will add text to each button with sprite with L or N to indicate which filter is currently being used. Hey, Ursula. I always think of two things now when I see your new name. One is Ursul, which is a Hearthstone card. This. And the other is, I think, from Dune. Usul. Yeah. So your name is a combination of those two things now. All right, so do we want to do this? I don't think this would even be that hard to do. Because we have some like node enters the tree somewhere. Where is that? I don't know where this is. Man, enter tree, challenger tree, max size container, radial menu. There's something that handles this. I don't remember what it is. I can only like picture where the code used to be. I don't remember what it was for. I don't know. I don't know how we would find this. Is it any of these? Something that needed a tooltip or sounds? I think it was sounds. Yeah. It's some audio thing. Needs audio. Needs town. There it is. Found it. On node added a tree. Okay, so that's the thing we want to do. So whenever we add anything here, run on all. How do we do this? Run a function on there. Get tree.node added. Okay, yeah, I want to do this. Do you know how a Freeman asks another how they're feeling? Do I want to know? Okay, how are Amy? How you doing? All right. I'll give you a half clap there. Okay, so we want to do this in main, I guess. On node added a tree, and then run on all descendants. I don't want to do that right now. I just want the on added a tree. Where might you be? Here. Okay, so here's what I want to do. I want to see if this thing has a texture filter. So how about we just do it this way? How about we say if node is a label, then add a child. Oh, we got to have some specific thing that makes sure we don't recurse here forever. How do we do this? I guess in node label.text is not equal to L and node label.text is not equal to N. Okay, there. So now add a label. Label equals new. Text equals node label.text filter, texture filter. So if it's linear, then set it to N or L, then otherwise set it to N, and then add that label. Okay, let's see if this works. We might also want to set the font size pretty big on this. Maybe we could set the color, I guess modulate is colors dot aqua. And there's probably a way to set the text size. I don't know, that doesn't matter. Let's just try that. All right, let's see. Let's see if this works. We can't have this guy in the office all the time. He's gonna drive everyone nuts. Okay, I don't know if any of these are labels. They might be rich text labels, in which case this is not working. There are game settings menu. Are there any labels in here? How do we even tell? There's one. What are you? Game settings. Yeah, so this is not working. Why isn't it working? Let's put a breakpoint there. And then if I just do anything, it should be triggered. Yeah. So now what happens when we go into this? It's never a label. Oh, because this is what opened. These are rich text labels, I think. Okay, so we are hitting this. So where is this happening? Oh, there we go. Look at that. There's an L right there. And there's an L there, L. Yeah. Then there's an N over money. Wow, interesting. That's not right, is it? Also, it's not even aqua. It's kind of strange, right? I said for it to be aqua. I see hints of blue around this, but for some reason it's black here. Maybe because a theme is overriding it. It might be. But yeah, this is kind of the idea that I wanted to do. I don't know why it's not showing. Oh, now it's showing here. Oh, because it's existed in the scene tree already. All right, so we gotta put a background color because I can't read this. How do you put a background color on a label? Is there a way to do that? Theme color. Oh, there's an outline color. I could just do that. So we could set the outline size. So if I type hello and we make this an outline size of like 6. Okay. Outline, you can't do it that way. Gotta do label.add theme constant. And what are you called? Outline size, makes sense. And set this to 5. And there we go. Had our user story refinement session with the team yesterday. They're like, let's up his work from home time to 3 days a week. Okay, so this. I see what we need to do. We need to add another override for the font color. Otherwise, it's going to be a mess. Yeah. So this is font color, colors.cyan. All right, we're getting there though. Oh, wait. What's the problem with that? Cannot convert from Godot color to int. Oh, whoops. I typed the wrong thing, didn't I? Add theme font override. Font. What is this called? Add theme color override? Ah, there it is. Nart battle. All right, now we got the right colors everywhere. Cool. So as long as we're doing this, I guess let's increase the font size too. Add theme font size override font size. And set it to, I don't know what the default is. Let's set it to 18, I guess. All right, so that's a label. Now let's try a rich text label. Rich text label. Node. Rich text label. And then make a new label. Do this with node rich text label. Cool. And now let's see what's wrong in the game. Amy. Okay. So any problems? Yeah, like this. Money has a nearest filter. Why? Currency label. That's... No, this is set to linear. What's set to nearest? Maybe the... Wait, what? That's weird. No, it's a word money. Oh my God. Oh, that's why I can't find this. Because it's in panels tab container, right? Or panel top bar. Oh, would you look at that? It did find a problem. Cool. Okay, so let's fix that and presumably that one too. Yep, nice. Okay, this is already paying off. So we're looking for N on any of these string. Oh, all of those are wrong. Okay, this is not that hard to find. Yeah, nice. This is great. I'm glad I thought of this idea because searching for these manually would have been annoying. This is set to inherit. And the problem is that we never set it on a parent that would actually have made sense. Okay, yeah. So we just got to set all these to linear. Linear. This one we can set the whole... Okay, this one's actually correct. So why does this look wrong? It doesn't keep in mind what inherit is set to. Can it know that it's inherit? Node label dot texture filter equals... Is there an inherit here? What is going on? Canvas item texture filter. Inherit must be 0 then? Yeah, it's 0. Oh, okay. Whoops. So then we can't do that. We need to private void or private string get texture filter label. All right, so if the filter is 0, then we need to check it on the parent. This is not going to be easy to do. I guess we can just take in a canvas item. Oh man, all right. So, yuck. I don't want to do this. All right, so if I guess just switch this case nearest and linear, return N, return L, case 0, return get texture filter label canvas item not get parent. Can you do that? Canvas item? It's not a thing. And default return question mark. There, easy. Now we just do that here. Text equals get texture filter node label. And then same thing for this. All right, so now I expect this to be correct. Now our levels. We should probably just put this in as an Easter egg. Texture filter mode. Change random letters to different other letters. Wait until someone finds a very offensive thing in the game. All right, yeah, so now we see that all these are L, but I think level did need to change there. So if I had not made this change myself, where is that change in Adventurers panel tab? Yeah, if I had not made this change, I think it would have been the wrong one. Oh, it should probably say that it's inherited. Yeah, that's a good idea. Oh, it doesn't have anything there now. Oh, because we're going to hit an exception where we're trying to cast the UI, in which case it's going to inherit from the project. So yeah, if the parent is not a canvas item, if get parent is canvas item parent, then return that. Otherwise, return N. This is the project default. So now delete this. And then, like Monadic Binds said, we could return I here. The problem is we'll keep tacking on I's. So we'll have like I, and then an L or an N. So what we could do is return that and add an I if it doesn't exist. So string parent filter equals this. If parent filter starts with an I, then return I plus parent filter. Or just set that as the parent filter. Okay. Now what's the problem here? We need some locale or something. I didn't realize characters existed in C#. Okay, closing brace should be followed by a blank line. That's weird. I'm just going to ignore that. It's all debug code anyway. Yeah, this is a pretty cool way of finding these issues. So now I'm expecting to see an N over level. So it'll be Neville Longbottom. Oh, this is breaking. Let me guess, I'm doing this infinitely. Well, I'm doing something wrong. But it's probably infinitely recursing. What's the problem here? If it's a canvas item, then get the texture filter label. If it doesn't start with an I, then start it with an I and then return it. Otherwise, return the project default. What am I missing? I don't see what's wrong here. It must be infinitely recursing, right? What's printing out from this? I don't even see anything printing out from this. Nothing I can make sense of. I guess let's run it again. Yeah, then we bail out of this. Oh, it hadn't even printed an error yet. Okay, start spewing errors. Now close it. Copy everything. See what it says at the top. Yeah, well. Oh, I see. Whoops, I know what I'm doing wrong. Because I check here to see if the text is L or N. Now I need to check if it's L, N, or I, L, N, or I. Whatever. Yeah. Okay, so private bool is text a filter indicator. Text equals that or IL or IN. Or I guess a question mark. Or an inherited question mark. Okay. All right, nice. Now we've gotten rid of it. Cool. We could just check to see if the text is 2 characters or fewer. I don't know if we ever have a label that's just 1 character, maybe a level or something. Yeah, nice. Now it works. Yep. And there's IN, meaning it's inheriting a nearest filter. And these are inheriting the wrong ones too. Nice. All right. We're catching bugs. Let's close out of everything else that we have going on here. Whoops, I didn't mean to click that. Hello, what's happening? Huh, it thinks Skeleseller is open, but it isn't. Quit and quit. Are they actually quitting? They're not. Oh, that one did. And that one did. Cool. So problem is there. And we set this to linear. We can get rid of that. And then same thing over here. Innate skills, linear, skill points, linear. All right, so those 3 problems are now fixed. Let's just keep going through these. This is pretty neat. Feeling pretty good about this. All right, so any labels that have an N, it's going to be a problem. In fact, you know what we could have done is just printed out where it is instead of me looking through all of these. Yeah, like these are wrong. That comes from Battle Panel tab. And I can't click those. That's too bad. Label and selected instance. So both of these need to be set to linear. And both of these need to be set to linear. All right, anything else? Those all look good. Yeah, cool. Okay, so all of that stuff looks good. What's weird is it's not putting... Oh, right, I didn't have this work for buttons. I should probably make it work for buttons before I keep going forward. So private void add texture filter label node. Actually, it's a canvas item. Oh, in fact, I didn't need to do things this way. I could have just checked to see if they're canvas items. Oh boy. Okay, fine. So canvas item. Oh no, we need to know. We need to know that it's not a label in this case. Oh, okay, yeah. So this won't work. We got to do it like this. And then add texture filter label, node label. Sure. Do the same thing down here. This changes to node rich text label. And then we can put an else if node is canvas item. Actually, we didn't even need to do it with rich text, right? I could have just done it with label and then canvas item. Because all we're ever doing is adding labels. Yeah. There. Now button should be annotated. Technically everything will be, even panels, and I don't care about those. So this will be a little bit overkill. And now it's infinitely recursing again, which means I messed something up. Or maybe it's not infinitely recursing. It could just be taking a long time. It's probably infinitely recursing. Whoops. How did I mess this up though? Add texture filter label. Calls on node added to tree. But it should only ever have this with it as its text. NL question mark or I in any of those. ILN question mark ILINI question mark. I have messed something up. Okay, I guess let's put a breakpoint here. Could it be that it has multiple I's? It shouldn't be able to have it because I checked to see if it starts with it already and only add it if it doesn't have it. But I guess we'll find out now what's going wrong here. So node added a tree. We call add. Nope, nope, none of that. Okay, let's try again. Okay, so here we add a label. And now when we call add child, it's going to trigger this call, which is now going to be a label, right? So this will be true. Node is label. True, yes. So then we go into our function here, and now its text is n. So we go out of that, yeah. So when do we go into here? Because eventually we're going to hit this a whole bunch of times, right? Uh-oh. 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 Don't canvas item. Yeah, so we're beyond the point where we can test this. All right, how about this? Let's just print out yeah, label found. Yeah, it gets a Stack Overflow, I know. Man, I gotta put this on my other monitor so I can close it fast enough. It didn't print out an error by then. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. Come on. I don't know if I stopped it in time. No, it didn't print. Yeah, the problem is it's spewing like 100,000 lines into the console. I want to figure out where this is happening from. I mean, I guess we just look at the code and figure out how this could possibly be happening. If it's a label and its text isn't one of the filter indicators, we'll add another one of these. So we know this is what's infinitely recursing. I guess we could... And we're only ever adding labels. What if I just always set the text equal to L? That should stop this from happening. So if that doesn't stop, maybe there's some special string that I'm just not realizing is there. So if this works, then we know that there is some string that isn't one of these 6. I just don't know how I could miss it. It doesn't look like that's working either, though. So it's a different problem? Yeah, weird. Oh, whoops. Okay, I'm done. Yeah, this should have been nested. This is me being very stupid. There. That should fix it. Oh, man. I originally... Yeah. Doesn't matter. All right, so now we should see the title screen. It's not happening. It's still not happening. There's a label if this is not a texture filter indicator. Oh, no, it did work. Oh, cool. Okay. So yeah, like I said, we're going to see this on a lot of different places now. Because it's even for sprites. So everything in the world should have N on it, meaning it's got a nearest filter because it's all pixel art. Or IN, inherited nearest. And yeah, it looks good. This is quite a lot. This has an N right here. Why is that? Or rather, that could be fine, but then all of these should have nearest. I guess I don't really care about this menu right now. Yeah, marking panels is kind of silly. It should really just be if it's a button, if it's a... Yeah, I should just say what these things are. If it's a button or canvas item node. A button or a rich text label. What else has text on it or a picture? Sprite 2D. Texture rectangle. Animated sprite 2D. What else do I care about? I think that's pretty much it. Is there some other node type? Hey, Cookie. Welcome in. Are we going to quit out of all of these things? Can anything else have text? I don't think so. I guess if we see text that's not annotated, we'll know there's a problem. Hey, Lucky, what am I working on? So I'm working on a game called Skeleseller. It launches in a couple months. What we're doing right now is something that's kind of a sanity check. So in Godot, you have two main kinds of texture filters, linear and nearest. Nearest is really good for pixel art. So as I zoom in on this sign, you can still see the individual pixels. Like it's not blurred, it's not aliased. But if you do the same thing for text, it should not look aliased. In fact, you see this happening here with the N. Like you see this jagged bar here. This is because this is using a nearest filter to render this text. So we've annotated every single piece of text in the game, hopefully, and we should see, and every sprite, and we should see if they're using the right filters now. So buttons should all be nearest, text should all be linear, sprites should all be nearest. So here you see the text is linear, good. The sprite is nearest, good. The text is linear, good. So this is looking pretty good. These graphics being linear is fine. That's all good. Yeah, cool. Okay, all of that looks fine. So now what about this? Yep, this is all good. That's good. That's all good. What's the game about? Yeah, take a look. Two messages right above yours. Okay, anything else we need to check? I guess perk screens and this sort of thing. Nearest, nearest, linear, nearest. Nice. Linear, linear, nearest. This is maybe not right. No, the whole thing's a button. Okay. No, I think that's correct. Okay, I think that's everything here. We could look through the settings menus. These are all nearest. I think this is gonna be a little hard to look through. Yep. Yes. Good. Yeah. All that's good. Yeah. All right, so now we go to the title screen and we look at this. Did you catch the battle map start button? Let me take a look. This is correct. The button itself has a nearest filter and then the text on it has a linear. How did text even become nearest? Is the default not inherit and the root linear? Those are the defaults, but I switched to nearest because I'm making a pixel art game. So I wanted by default for it to have nearest. I think that was maybe a mistake because we have more text than we do sprites probably, but I'm not sure. Either way, it's like we're just trying to figure out if there's anything wrong now. I haven't seen anything that's wrong so far. All right, linear, nearest, that's fine, that's fine. That doesn't seem right. Choose a scenario as nearest. New challenge run screen. Choose a scenario. Where are you? Intro. Choose. Ah, yeah, that's wrong. Okay. Well, we're finding some of these. By the way, if you like super zoom in, you can see the difference, I think. Yeah. So this is jagged. And if I said it's a linear, it's perfectly smooth. So that's what we're trying to find here. And it's easier to find it by annotating than it is to find it by just looking. So all the rest of those are fine. That's fine. That's fine. Yeah. So now we hit, no, we actually don't hit anything yet. We go over here and take a look. This is all good. This is good. What are those two floating ends at the top? What did you see? Oh, these? This is for the logo and this is for the background. Because it's for every sprite in the game is getting annotated. And actually, I'm not even totally sure if this should have nearest. Yeah, I'm not sure if either of those should. We should probably take a look. Yeah, let's go take a look at that. Title screen. Okay, logo right there. If we change this to linear, it might look actually better. It's subtle how this changes things. So let's just look at the S. This is linear right now. Let me change it to nearest. Okay, this one might not matter too much. I think linear is actually better because of the border. Yeah, because this is not technically pixel art. Yeah, I think we switched this to linear. And then the background too. The background, you can actually see the jaggedness around the eyes, which probably means I should have never done this. Oh my god, even the title screen had a mega problem here. Yeah, oh man. Okay, let's try that in game and see how that looks. Actually, it should just already have made an impact. So this is what we used to have. I'll change it off screen and you can see if you can notice the difference. So here's linear, here is nearest. If you look around the eyes, you'll see it change. Linear, nearest. Yeah, linear looks a lot better. And then same thing for the logo. If I change it to nearest. Okay, this one I don't really see changing. Like I can see that something's changing. It's like it wiggles very slightly, but I just changed it a few times. I do think linear looks better though. Nice, nice, nice. All right, so let's go check this out. There shouldn't be too much more in here that I haven't seen already. So like this is linear, 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 nearest linear, yep, 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 yep. And now what about these? Good, 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 good. And all of these should follow the exact same thing. Yes. Good. Good. Hang on one second. Okay, my wife was leaving. I think the background is resized instead of cropped. I saw resizing artifacts. Maybe it's just the stream. The background of the title screen. Oh, and then we got to win the game and see what happens then. Yeah, this all looks fine. Wow. Crazy. Background is resized instead of cropped. Saw resizing artifacts. I think it's looking good. I think it looks better than if we had nearest there. Because with nearest, I think the eyes look too jagged. I'll just take a picture and show them side by side. Let's just take a picture of this. So this is nearest. And this is linear. So let's put these next to each other. Maybe 1200. This is nearest and this is linear. Can't draw on this. Why can't I draw on this? Hello? There. Okay. Yeah. I guess it's kind of hard to tell, huh? Yeah, oh well. Looks the same. It kind of does look the same. Am I not actually changing this? Oh, I'm changing the logo. Whoops. Whoops. Let's do that again. All right. This one is the correct nearest one. Oh, this also kind of looks the same, right? Did I do this correctly? Yeah, background. Huh. It should be different. Is there any like very subtle thing that we could see here? I feel like something's wrong. Let me change this here. I think it's just not super obvious what's happening. Anyway, I am going to check this in. And I want to write this down somewhere. Filter. Do I ever... I could have sworn I wrote this. Yeah, multiple texture filters. All right, so let's do this. Texture filters. Detecting which filters you're using at runtime. So I wrote a script to annotate nodes I was interested in with L. L for a linear filter, N for a nearest filter, question mark for anything else, and yeah, I will precede the string if the filter was inherited. Give us a brief overview of how you structure a project of this size. When you say structure, what do you mean exactly? Like files and folders, tasks and features, I don't know, like design and business or something like that. Like, because I'd be happy to talk about it. I just want to make sure I'm answering something you actually want to hear about. Because some people actually do ask me about files and folders. I don't think you are right now, but some people do. All right, so where's the script that I put in? Main here. Okay, so this goes in the ready of something. In fact, let's just copy everything that we have here and just delete everything that's not important. So like all of this stuff. All of this stuff. And everything else we actually keep. So that's rather unfortunately like 70 lines. Yeah. And then technically this being 0 can be pulled from default parent node. Yeah, that's smarter. Canvas item, texture filter, parent node. And then we write this over here. All right, anything else that we can make a little bit easier? Yeah, I think it's pretty good. Like file structure and how you manage data, custom resource managers to get your head around it. Okay, so you are asking about files and folders. Yeah, so I'll go into this a little bit at least. We have a few overall folders here. And by the way, you can color folders in Godot if you just right click and go to set color. So assets, scenes, source. These are pretty much what you'd expect. Assets contain things like images, audio, fonts. Scenes contain anything you'd open up in Godot, any TSCN files. And source is any source code that we have for those things. In terms of getting access to classes in different places, we try to use any sort of static things sparingly. I just want to minimize global state. There are incredibly few singletons, but a lot of game devs will make like everything a singleton, and you have things accessing things from all over the place, and it's really hard to untangle them. What else is worth talking about for this? Yeah, a lot of scenes we load on the fly using, what is it, scene loader, resource loader. Yeah, a lot of things we'll just load on the fly using resource loader.load. Yeah, I'm not sure if there's anything else you have a question about with that. Maybe, yeah. As far as how to find things, it's just following the folder structure or the file structure and hoping it's where you expect it to be. Otherwise, it's searching for like a canary string that you could find. Characteristic Z-shape artifact on the outlines. Yeah. I should take a picture of what this looks like. Where's that N coming from? Is the icon its own sprite? It is. Okay. Interesting. Well, I guess I should have more of these things in here. Any of those strings that the filter was inherited. So here's what it looks like. Here's an example of what this looks like when run. This allows you to quickly find any nodes that may have an incorrect filter, but aren't super obvious. For example, most of our text should have a linear filter since we don't use a pixel font, but we make sure button uses a nearest filter since the background is pixel art. This makes the font look worse, but at small sizes, it doesn't matter. See multiple for more information. Here's the C# code for this. Yeah, I'll write a couple of tiny comments. Prevent infinite recursion from adding these annotation labels. And there's one other thing I wanted to do. These are all of the types that I care about. You could just use canvas item to find everything. So just for clarity. Yeah. I don't know if we have a way around that. Pressel. Boy, you sure know my routines. Yeah, nice. Okay, I like these notes. I like what we did here. I like that we can now go delete this because we found a bunch of mistakes and fix them. And then just delete all this stuff. Yeah. Is there anywhere else in the game I haven't looked? I guess the banner at the beginning of this? L and L, yeah, that's correct. I looked at this stuff, right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Dialogues, battles. Yeah, you're right. I didn't look at battles. Look at that. It's like rotated sometimes. Why is that happening? Oh, for the slash graphic. Oh, this is funny. Yeah, the text at the end actually is incorrect. And these probably shouldn't be nearest. Shouldn't all of these icons be linear? Yeah, so these three are wrong. This all looks correct. Yeah, everything else looks correct. And then these buttons, I don't think they look bad or anything. So they're probably fine. But I feel like they should have linear on them instead. What are we trying to achieve here? We've annotated every single like label or sprite with N for nearest, L for linear, or I for inherited nearest or inherited linear. And in general, pixel art should have the nearest filter and text should have the linear filter. Oh, even this top one's wrong. You won. And I bet if you increase this, it looks a little bit worse. Huh. Well. And good call, Dark. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. End battle screen. Okay, so we got to fix some of those things. Thankfully, it's pretty easy to do. This one just switches to linear. Now it looks better. Then all of these at the bottom. Ding, ding, ding. Set all of these to linear. Okay, now the buttons themselves. These are a little bit tough because... Wait, first. Yeah, these are a little bit tough because I think they might want to be linear. Does that look better or does that look better? I think it's better as linear, actually. I wonder if all icon buttons are like that. They don't get bigger as you resize the screen, so it's not really obvious one way or the other, I guess. But yeah, here's what they look like now. I think I want to try setting them to linear. All right, so I have a picture of what they looked like when they were nearest. And let's just paste these in here as long as I'm already doing this. So this is with them set to nearest. Now here they are as linear. It does not update their labels. They should be different. I feel like I'm messing something up if they don't look different. We just win the battle again. They are different. Oh yeah, I guess you can see that they're different. This one's a little bit more pointed on this thing here. Whereas up here, it kind of stops at like a... I don't even know how to describe this. Yeah, it looks a little smoother. Yeah. Okay. Well. This is quite illuminating. So yeah, we fixed the label, we fixed the icons, we fixed these labels, and that's pretty much everything, right? And then there's just that text, forest. That's in the toolbar. Yeah, this. This is wrong. This needs to be linear. Okay. So wait, Dark said something else too. What was it? Dialogues. Dialogues I looked at. I think the stretch mode messes up here. There's no stretch mode set. If you're talking about this is a content scale factor. This should make the text look crisp no matter what. And it should make all the pixel art look crisp no matter what. This shouldn't have a problem. In the editor button icon. Oh, you're saying while I'm looking at these things? Yeah, that might have an impact. We don't have anything else that we need to look at, right? These are things that people probably would never have noticed one way or another. But like, yeah, now this text should look better. So discard this. Okay. Ensure proper texture filters everywhere. Fixes this. I wrote a script to do this, which is in my Godot UI notes. I'm not including it here. It annotated each canvas item that I cared about with L or N. So it was easy to spot what was wrong. I fixed the ones I found and now probably won't do anything else toward, like, for this problem in the future. Well, any other widespread investigations. Have you checked the intro and outro? No. But I think we looked at them before. Let's do this. And then watch outro. Oh, this is going super fast. No, load game. Okay, watch outro now. All right, looks good. Yep. Yeah, I think we looked through this already. Yeah, all these would be L. And I don't even think there's any other text that doesn't show in a dialogue. Oh no, there's the tip thing. But that looks good. All right. Great. And I did not check the intro, but to check the intro, I need to go resurrect that code. So I'm going to assume that I already did that the other time. Text on the skip button should be L. No, so the way that buttons work is there's just one texture filter. And the button itself, like the background, is pixel art. So we purposely use nearest for these so that the pixel art looks good. And as long as the button isn't gigantic, you don't really even notice that something's wrong with the font. So yeah, that's why, yeah, and all of these, like all of these are set to nearest as well. The text still looks pretty much fine. But now as a result of this, now we have sharp pixel edges on the button, which is what we want. So like you can see individual pixels on here and on the shadow. So that's an intentional decision that we made. And I wrote notes about that too, but I haven't pushed these online. But yeah, here. Okay, I am gonna check this in. Let's look at this really fast and just make sure every change I made should just be texture filter. As long as that's the case. Oh, this was never overridden before, so technically it's just texture filter. Wait, what? Shouldn't this appear 3 times? It's lame you can't have different ones. Yeah, it is kind of lame. You have to make a custom component. And I find making custom components that act like buttons to be very annoying because there's a lot of behavior you want to have that you might not have if you do things wrong and you don't realize until you have like some hardened button component. All right, so we've done a lot. I'm going to go take my lunch break. I've needed to pee for like the last 2 hours and have just sat here at this computer. So I'm going to go get some food. I'll be back in about an hour. If any of you haven't tried the demo yet, now's your chance to do so. But yeah, I'll see you all in a bit. Take care.